the woman whose house was targeted by Pakistan's armed drones. India's air defense, of course, has succeeded in thwarting most of these attacks, 99.9% or probably higher. But as India just said at an official briefing, Pakistan has chosen to escalate this. It has also chosen to not even follow the rules of war. Pakistan has not closed its civilian airspace because it is using international airlines flying in the air as shields against India's retaliation. So that is the depths to which Pakistan has fallen in its escalating move. Local residents there showing us pieces of shrapnel of the Pakistani drones that fell in their residential neighborhoods. We're also seeing a situation where the Aap Shambhu Mandir in Jammu, and I know we have those images too, we can bring them up later. There it is. This is the main gate of the Aap Shambhu Mandir. By the way, today is Saturday, and this is a temple where the local residents were telling us that Saturday ko bahut log aate hain subah usually पूजा करने के लिए. And from that main gate, अगर आप 2 कदम चल के आगे जाएं, a house, thankfully the owners of the house were traveling, but a house, उसकी balcony उड़ गई है, and you could see pieces of shrapnel. The temple has been targeted. Yesterday only, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri was making the point that Pakistan has targeted a Gurdwara in Poonch, a Christian school, and now we see a temple being targeted. And Foreign Secretary repeated just now at the press briefing that Pakistan is trying to force a communal hue on Operation Sindoor and what has happened since. Now, also Punjab has come under massive attempts at attacks. Late last night, there were sounds of loud explosions and literally gun battles in the air that residents of Amritsar were able to record, and we shared them. We now have a confirmation from the army that armed drones were seen over the Khasa Cantonment in Amritsar. But we also have an official confirmation from the military briefing just now that a high-speed missile from Pakistan was intercepted in Sirsa, Haryana. And there were attempts by Pakistan to use missiles at different military bases in Punjab. And yes, so Punjab and Jammu really emerging as the places that are at the receiving end of Pakistan's escalation. I want to introduce from Ground Zero our guests today. We'll have ground reports both from the temple complex that was targeted, as well as the residential colony that was targeted. Naval veteran Commodore Uday Bhaskar is with us. Welcome to the program, sir. And also joining me is a veteran IPS officer, Gurinder Dhillon. Mr. Dhillon, thank you for joining us, and good to see both of you. I want to start by playing what we have on record. Before I come to you with ground reports, here's what Wing Commander Vyomika Singh described. This is the official briefing, and we're trying very hard in the fog of war to be as accurate as possible, as responsible as possible. And that's why I want to play for you first the official comment on what is happening. Take a look.
Pakistan military continued with its provocations, carrying out aggressive actions employing multiple threat vectors all along the western border. Pakistan employed UCAV, drones, long-range weapons, loitering munitions, and fighter aircraft to target civilian areas and military infrastructure. Pakistan military also resorted to air intrusions using drones and firing of heavy caliber weapons along the line of control. Along the international border and the line of control, air intrusions and several harassment attacks were also attempted from Srinagar till Nalia at more than 26 locations. Indian Armed Forces successfully neutralized these threats and majority of the vectors. However, limited damage was sustained to equipment and personnel at Indian Air Force stations at Udhampur, Pathankot, Adampur and Bhuj. There were also several high-speed missile attacks noticed subsequently after 0140 hours in the night at several air bases in Punjab. In a deplorable cowardly act, targeting of civilian infrastructure also had taken place, where Pakistan attacked the Medicare Center and school premises at the air bases of Srinagar, Avantipur and Udhampur. yet again displaying irresponsible targeting of our civilian infrastructure. In a swift and calibrated response, Indian Armed Forces carried out precision attacks only on identified military targets. These included technical infrastructure, command and control centers, radar sites, and weapon storage areas. Pakistan military targets at Rafiqi, Murid, Chaklala, Rahim Yar Khan, Sukur, and Chunya were engaged using air launched precision weapons from our fighter aircraft. Radar sites at Pasroor and Sialkot Aviation Base were also targeted using precision munitions. While carrying out these responses, India ensured minimum collateral damage. Pakistan has also attempted to execute a continued malicious misinformation campaign with claims of destruction of Indian S-400 system at Adampur, destruction of airfields at Suratgarh and Sirsa, BrahMos base at Nagrota, RT gun positions at Derangyari, and Chandigarh Forward Ammunition Depot, with heavy damages to other military stations being propagated on social media. India unequivocally rejects these false narratives being spread by Pakistan. Along the line of control, also, Pakistan has attempted multiple air intrusions using drones and conducted shelling using heavy caliber RT guns, targeting civilian infrastructure and killing some civilians. Heavy exchange of artillery mortars and small arms fire in Kupwara, Baramulla, Poonch, Rajouri, and Aknoor sectors continued. Indian Army has responded effectively and proportionately, causing extensive damage to Pakistan Army. Pak military has been observed to be moving their troops into forward areas, indicating offensive intent to further escalate the situation. Indian Armed Forces remain in a high state of operational readiness. All hostile actions have been effectively countered and responded appropriately. Indian Armed Forces reiterate their commitment to non escalation, provided it is reciprocated by the Pakistan military. At the end, I would also like to show you a few images of Air Force bases in the Punjab sector and Rajasthan sector, where it is mighty clear that we are debunking the Pakistani claims of causing destruction at these air bases. You can yourself see the normalcy and these air force stations. This is Sirsa, Suratgarh. The runways are intact. They're also time stamped. Just notice they're also stamped. This is today. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, so that is the official briefing. I am here at Ground Zero in Jammu, and we will show you our report from the temple complex that was targeted. In just a moment, let's bring in reactions. Comrade Bhaskar, yesterday when we were talking, the people like yourselves and other experts were two-minded. Everybody thought that the next 12 hours were going to be critical. We now know how those hours have gone, and we now know that missiles and armed drones have targeted military bases, civilian areas, and places of worship. This is not conjecture. This is confirmed. I have seen it with my own eyes at the residential colony and the temple in Jammu. And we have the military briefing telling us that missiles were deployed and intercepted as they tried to target bases in Punjab. Comrade Bhaskar, your first reaction.
My first reaction, Barkha, is to reel back to what we were discussing yesterday, that we had said that the night of Friday and Saturday early hours would be critical in terms of which path Pakistan proposes to take. I think we have the answer to that. And as you have pointed out in your opening remarks, that Pakistan has chosen to escalate, and escalate, if I may use the word, in a very malignant manner. And why I'm saying this is that apart from the fact that on day one, day two, Indian military assets were targeted, Now, the scope of the war has been extended from Pakistan's side to include civilian assets, civilians themselves, and to my mind, the most malignant, I repeat that word, toxic, if I may, is identifying places of worship. Now, you will recall that in the early days after the April 22nd terror massacre in Pahalgam, many of us had spoken about this and said that if there is one objective of the perpetrators and their handlers that has to be resisted and defeated, it is the attempt to introduce the communal divide and hatred within India. So, by targeting a place of worship, and you have outlined the sanctity of the Shambhu temple in Jammu, particularly on a Saturday, to my mind is provocation of a very malevolent, malignant order. And this is where I want to spend another minute, if I may, Barkha, to say that it's not for us to advise the government on tactical issues. The security planners and the national security authorities are competent and they are doing a great job in terms of dealing with the terror massacre of April 22. But the place of worship has a societal, a social religious dimension. And as an analyst and someone who studied this for the last 30, 35 years, you will remember what happened Barkha Hazrat Bal. Over the decades, the attempt by the Pakistani deep state to introduce this element of communal, religious, the Hindu-Muslim divide in India. And each time I think India has been able to recognize it and contain it. This time around, with the kind of disinformation warfare that is going on, because apart from the military dimension, there is a very sturdy, robust, malignant social media come disinformation campaign that is going on. And I hope that our authorities would provide the necessary advisories about not allowing the attack on the temple to be played out in a mischievous manner, in a manner that would stoke the current anger and anguish in the country, and it does not take its own dynamic. So that's my limited comment at this point. There are other issues that we can talk about, for instance, the hypersonic missile and the use of the UCAVs and what do they mean in terms of the military dimension of the warfare. But I'll come back to that if time permits. Barkha?
Absolutely, Commander Bhaskar. Let me get an opening comment from Mr. Dylan, and then I would like to play out our ground report at Shambhu Temple. Dylan sir, Commander Bhaskar, they're saying malignant escalation and particularly malignant in targeting places of worship. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri flagged this yesterday. He spoke about a Gurdwara in Punch. He spoke about a Christian school in that area. And now we have a temple targeted here in Jammu, where I am. And clearly, the attempt is to somehow try and create a communal shadow over what is actually India defending our national interests and responding to terror in Pahalgam. Your first comments, Gurinder Dhillon.
Barkha, first of all, good afternoon to both of you. I feel what has been said that it is an evolving situation. Now, probably it is a fast evolving situation. And the basic point is that yesterday or day before yesterday was the third day when the evening Pakistan side they start sending drones and other aerial articles. But at night, when there was discussions going on yesterday, it was clearly sounding that their desperation is getting beyond control and they will start targeting civilian areas. But rightfully, as it was judged, now they have started targeting religious places. Of course, they targeted one Gurdwara Sahib at Punch. I had visited that Gurdwara Sahib twice. Was all this thing what is happening? One, maybe causing more scare. Secondly, I think, yes, rightfully, they are trying to cause a communal divide, but I don't think it is possible now because it is first time in the after I think 2-3 decades, rather 3 decades, that public mood in India after Pahalgam and the successful Operation Sindoor is united. The whole population is behind the government and they are supporting the actions being taken by the armed forces. And I agree with Bhaskarji that I know that the efforts being made by defense forces of India in a coordinated manner is really very effective. The calls they are taking, they are doing their best, and we have the best resources. But what I want to add out of my what I gather regularly from the field, as you said, you were in Punjab, that the defense mechanism which is now
Sir, I
in
was
display.
I was in Punjab. I'm now in Jammu, where the attacks have
Yeah.
taken place this morning.
So the defense mechanism, Barkha, the defense mechanism which kinetic or non-kinetic, which is on display now from the side of Indian side. I have talked to so many people because I originally come from a Gurdaspur district. They are very happy with what is this defense mechanism. When I talk to them, they say, now we are not worried because this is what is required to be done. At the same time, we have to be very careful, and we have no doubt that the Pakistan army is now acting like a terrorist organization. They have been exposed after the terrorist attacks, or after the attacks which we made on terrorist hideouts. They openly supported them. So now it is like a Hamas organization or ISIS. It is no more a civilized nation's army. So what we are facing now is that now it will be escalation. And if they are hitting civilian areas, we have to take it further. And now we have been successful in defense, we have been offense, and it gives me pride. And I am very happy that Indian government have decimated 3-4 air bases, out of which the 2 air bases which are very famous, they are very useful assets for Pakistan. It is very encouraging. But at the same time, I'm also very happy that I may, this may not be liked, but I'm very happy that Pakistan, out of its desperation, is escalating. So it means they are inviting chaos for Pakistan, which we shall avail the opportunity and destroy them in best possible manner.
Okay. So since you're talking about the escalation, you're absolutely right. Every day, India has said that India's actions remain non-escalatory, that if the Pakistan military does not target the Indian military, India is not seeking escalation. But not just as Pakistan continue to target military bases in Punjab, as well as in Jammu and Kashmir, or has attempted to. Those attempts have been thwarted, I must say. They're now targeting civilians and places of worship. Now, the army has conducted a coordinated fire assault. The escalation, the retaliation is now happening from our side. They have released these images just now, moments ago, saying that a coordinated fire assault on terrorist launch pads was taken, pulverizing and raising them to cinders. Let's take a look with the sound up, please. That was was released by the army to the tune of Kadam Kadam Badhaye Ja. The natural sound perhaps was too pulverizing. That is how the army has chosen to message its communication to remain, I guess, upbeat at a time when people need to feel, the public, I mean, needs to feel a sense of reassurance. I just want quick comment from Commodore Bhaskar on what might happen next, and then I would like to play out my ground report from the Shambhu temple. Commodore Bhaskar.
My own sense is that India has multiple objectives when it launched Operation Sindhu. They are multi-layered, perhaps that's a better way of describing it. We know what is it that we do not want, what is it that has to be defeated by way of the primary objective of the perpetrator and the handler. I made reference to the communal divide, and that should be resisted at all costs, is my own personal recommendation. After seeing the current escalation, and I said that what is new is the use of ordnance delivery platforms, which are of a much higher intensity than what we saw in Pulwama Balakot, which is 2019. 6 years down the road, for the military professionals, with the experience that has now been gleaned from the Russia-Ukraine war, as also Israel, you can see that in a purely professional sense, there is an awareness about the capability of the unmanned drone. And we are seeing that at play here. And in a technical sense, we have also seen the introduction of the hypersonic missile. The hypersonic missile is the missile that can travel faster than sound. Now that has its own techno-strategic implications at the tactical level. From media reports, I do not have any other access. It appears that this has also been introduced, which is why the kind of destruction that you spoke about in your opening remarks would suggest. So as I said last night also, clearly Pakistan on the conventional ladder has gone up by 2 rungs, if not more. And I would even go to the extent of saying that they are trying to get onto another ladder, which is the one that is identifying civilian assets, civilian population, and places of worship as targets, which is what the Foreign Secretary, Mr. Mishri, had also referred to in his remarks on day one in the first press conference when the Gurdwara and the church were targeted. So at this point, I think India has to remain focused on the primary tactical objective: punish the perpetrators, punish the handlers. And I'm taking the liberty of saying this on your show, Barkha, which is that we do not act in a manner that Pakistan has, which is to target innocent civilians and much less any places of worship. But that, as I said, we will see how it proceeds. I'm only making my personal kind of observation about where we are now. Barkha?
Yes, thank you, Commodore. Before I come to Mr. Dhillon, I think you've made 2 very important points. One is these hypersonic missiles, and I want to understand a little bit more about them in a moment. But first, this malignant escalation, as Commodore Bhaskar called it, and the very deliberate targeting of places of worship in India to somehow try and force a communal dimension to what is happening here. Let me now play out for you. I was on the ground at the Shambhu temple in Jammu, that where Indian air defense systems intercepted Pakistani drones as they were trying to target this temple. Take a look.
इस समय हम ग्राउंड जीरो जम्मू में हैं, जहां पे as we've been reporting, Pakistan drone attacks have targeted residential colonies, but right now हम शंभू मंदिर में हैं, the complex. दोबारा गेट दिखाऊंगी, आप वहां देख सकते हैं मेन गेट पे लिखा है कृपया पुनः पधारें. This is the आप शंभू मंदिर, और इस कॉम्प्लेक्स के अंदर पाकिस्तान ड्रोन अटैक was intercepted, लेकिन यहाँ पर शंभू टेम्पल कॉम्प्लेक्स जो है उसकी टारगेटिंग हुई है. यहाँ पे हमारे साथ सर हैं जो हमें बताएंगे कि क्या हुआ, पर चलते चलते इधर जाते हैं क्योंकि पीछे मैं दिखाना चाहूंगी कि मंदिर को डैमेज नहीं हुआ है, मैं कहना चाहती हूँ, लेकिन कॉम्प्लेक्स के अंदर जो एक घर है उस तरफ आप वो घर देख सकते हैं और घर की बालकनी देख सकते हैं, और आप देख सकते हैं कि बालकनी को किस तरह से ब्लास्ट हुआ है बालकनी. और अगर आप पीछे आए तो हम सर से बात करते हैं. तो सर, आप बताइए कि क्या हुआ।
ये मैडम सुबह 5:30 बजे का वाकया है। तो शेलिंग शुरू हुई, ब्लास्टिंग शुरू हुई, तो हम सारे सोए हुए थे तो जाग गए, और जाग के अभी हम जागे हुए थे तो एकदम 6 बजे, जैसे ही 6 बजते हैं, 6 बजे एकदम जोर से ब्लास्ट होता है। ऐसे लगता है कोई बम गिरा या मिसाइल गिरी है या ड्रोन गिरा, ये तो हमें पता नहीं क्या गिरा, लेकिन बहुत जोर से ब्लास्ट हुआ। ऐसे लगा कि मेरे ही छत पे ये ब्लास्ट हुआ।
आप यही रहते हैं?
बिल्कुल मेरे बगल में मेरा घर है, इस घर के।
और ये मंदिर को तो कोई नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा?
नहीं, ये मंदिर को कोई नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा। ये प्राचीन, हजारों वर्ष प्राचीन मंदिर है हमारा। ये यहाँ पे आप शंभू मंदिर का प्राचीन मंदिर, हजारों वर्ष पुराना है। यहाँ पे लाखों की तादाद में शिवरात्रि के दिन लोग यहाँ पे अपना माथा टेकने आते हैं, और शनिवार और रविवार के दिन यहाँ पे श्रद्धालु हजारों की संख्या में आते हैं माथा टेकने। बिल्कुल 100 मीटर की दूरी पर है, और ये आप देख सकते हैं, ये आप शंभू मंदिर का प्रवेश द्वार है। ये बिल्कुल आप शंभू मंदिर का प्रवेश द्वार है। यहाँ से श्रद्धालु मंदिर की तरफ जाते हैं।
मैं 1 मिनट दिखाना चाहती हूँ डिस्टेंस के लिए। सर आप हमारे साथ ही रहिए। सर आपका नाम नहीं बताया?
मेरा नाम संजीव बख्शी है, मैं रूपनगर में ही रहता हूँ।
अच्छा, तो वो है मंदिर का द्वार, और उससे बल्कि 10 मीटर भी दूर नहीं ये घर है जहाँ पे ये ब्लास्टिंग हुई है। लास्ट कैमरा टू मूव इन। हाँ जी सर बताते रहिए हमें, उसके बाद क्या हुआ?
उसके बाद जैसे ही मैं घर की छत पे चढ़ता हूँ, घर की छत पे चढ़ के देखता हूँ कि यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, तो ऐसे धुएं का गुबार सा एक उठता है।
सायरन बजा पहले?
हाँ, ये प्लस पॉइंट है हमारा कि सायरन बजा, नहीं तो यहाँ पे श्रद्धालु चलते हैं। तो सायरन बज चुका था और सब लोग अलर्ट हो गए थे, सारे अपने अपने घरों में थे। तो मैं छत पे चढ़ा, नहीं तो बहुत ज्यादा कैजुअलिटी होनी थी।
बिल्कुल
बहुत ज्यादा, क्योंकि यहाँ पे श्रद्धालु जाते हैं, बहुत ज्यादा कैजुअलिटी होनी थी। मैं छत पे चढ़ के देखता हूँ धुएं का गुबार, फिर मैं बाहर आता हूँ। जैसे ही बाहर आता हूँ, बाहर आके देखता हूँ कि हमारे घर के ही बैक साइड में तो ये घर है, घर बंद पड़ा, पुराना घर है। ये जिनका घर था वो बेच के वो चले गए।
तो घर के अंदर कोई नहीं?
घर के अंदर कोई नहीं था।
फिर दिखाना चाहती हूँ, घर खाली था। थैंक गॉड, भगवान की कृपा से घर खाली था। ये घर जिस पे द ड्रोन फेल एज इट वाज बीइंग इंटरसेप्टेड, वो खाली था। फिर जूम इन करके जरा दिखाइए। और सर थोड़ा आगे यहाँ पे भी हम देख सकते हैं, अगर कैमरा यहाँ वापस आए तो आप जमीन पे ये जो हम देख रहे हैं सर, इसके बारे में
ये अब ये पता नहीं है कि ये ड्रोन का है या मिसाइल का है, पर आप ये खुद दे सकते हैं। ये टुकड़े, ये मेरे हाथ में भी ये टुकड़ा है। ये
अच्छा, आपके हाथ में भी है?
ये टुकड़े हैं। अब ये मिसाइल के टुकड़े हैं या ड्रोन के टुकड़े हैं, ये पुलिस का इन्वेस्टिगेशन का विषय है। ये पुलिस इन्वेस्टिगेट करेगी कि ये किसके टुकड़े हैं। लेकिन जहां तक मुझे लगता है ये ड्रोन अटैक है, और बड़े जबरदस्त तरीके का ड्रोन अटैक हुआ है। और ये टारगेट जो यहाँ पे मैम आपको मैं बता दूं, 10-15 दिन पहले जब ये वार लाइक सिचुएशन बन रही थी, तो यहाँ पे 10 दिन पहले यहाँ पे एनएसजी कमांडो द्वारा मॉक ड्रिल की गई थी इसी मंदिर के प्रांगण।
अच्छा, तो मतलब प्रिकॉशन के तौर पर,
प्रिकॉशन के तौर पे यहाँ पे ड्रिल की गई थी। तो ये जो टारगेट था, मंदिर को ही टारगेट, अब जो रिहायशी,
आपको लगता है कि डिलिबरेटली मंदिर को टारगेट?
बिल्कुल ये मंदिर को हिट किया गया। क्योंकि ये हजारों वर्ष पुराना प्राचीन मंदिर है हमारा, जम्मू का प्राचीन मंदिर है। मैं आपको पहले भी बता चुका हूँ, यहाँ पे शिवरात्रि के दिन लाखों की तादाद में यहाँ पे श्रद्धालु अपना माथा टेकने आते हैं, और सोमवार और शनिवार के दिन हजारों की तादाद में लोग आते हैं। और आज मैम आपको भी पता है शनिवार है, और शनिवार के दिन यहाँ पे मंदिर में यहाँ से ही लोग इसी रास्ते से।
कितने बजे शुरू होता है वो?
ये सुबह 4 बजे शुरू हो जाते हैं।
तो
बाबा
आप
के
ये
दर्शन
कह रहे हैं कि शनिवार के दिन यहाँ पूजा होती है और बहुत लोग होते हैं?
पूजा अर्चना रोज होती है, लेकिन भोले बाबा के मंदिर में शनिवार और सोमवार के दिन काफी रश होता है।
ये संजीव जी हमें बहुत जरूरी बात बता रहे हैं। आपको याद होगा कि कल फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी की जो ब्रीफिंग थी, उन्होंने उसमें कहा कि पाकिस्तान जान के गुरुद्वारा, मंदिर और क्रिश्चियन स्कूल्स को भी टारगेट कर रहा है। पूंछ की बात की उन्होंने। अब यहाँ हम शंभू मंदिर के कॉम्प्लेक्स के अंदर हैं, और यहाँ पे लोगों को फीलिंग है कि क्योंकि यहाँ पहले भी मॉक ड्रिल्स हो चुकी है, और यहाँ पे आज सैटरडे है, बड़ी तादाद में इसी रास्ते से, बिल्कुल इसी रास्ते से, जिस रास्ते के किनारे ये पाकिस्तान ड्रोन अटैक हुआ है, दोबारा आपको दिखाऊंगी। थोड़ा वहां पे करीब हम चलते हैं। सर आप भी हमारे साथ आ जाइए, थोड़ा सा आप देखते हैं। तो सर बता रहे हैं कि सैटरडे को यूजुअली यहाँ बहुत लोग होते हैं, लेकिन सायरन बज गया। हाँ, और लोग बच गए।
सायरन बज चुका था पहले। सायरन की आवाज हमने सुनी, तो सारे बड़ी जोरदार से धमाके हो रहे थे, शेलिंग हो
क्या
रही थी।
देखा आपने? डिस्क्राइब करो, आपने क्या देखा?
जैसे ही ये ब्लास्ट हुआ, मैं घर की पहले तो अपने छत पे चढ़ता हूँ।
ओके।
छत पे चढ़ के मैं देखता हूँ तो एकदम धुआं उड़ रहा है। अब ये देखता हूँ कि ये धुआं कहाँ से उड़ रहा है। तो ऐसे ही नजर अपनी घुमाता हूँ तो अपने बैक साइड से देखता हूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि ये मेरे ही घर के पीछे ब्लास्ट हुआ है। तो मैं घर से बाहर आता हूँ। इतनी देर में मेरे को मेरे दोस्तों के रिश्तेदारों के फोन आने शुरू हो जाते हैं कि ऐसे ऐसे ये बमबारी जम्मू में हो रही है। तो मैंने कहा बमबारी तो हो रही है, जम्मू में हो रही है, बड़ी जबरदस्त तरीके से हो रही है, हम तो अंदर बैठे हुए हैं। हम तो अंदर बैठे हुए हैं। तो बाहर आके देखता हूँ तो ये घर के पूरी गैलरी है, ये गैलरी टूट गई है। बिजली के खंभे हैं मैडम, आप देख सकते हैं, ये 2 पीस हो गए हैं। ये पेड़ है, ये देखिए ये पेड़ भी टूट गया।
मैं दिखाना चाहती हूँ यहाँ पे ये जो पेड़ है वो भी that has also been hit and आप ये देखिए, this is the remains of that intercepted drone attack here on the Shambhu Mandir. अब हम यहाँ से निकलते हैं ये रिमाइंड करते हुए, अगर कैमरा मेरे सामने आ जाए तो हम यहाँ पे ये रिमाइंड सबको कराना चाहते हैं कि कल ही प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में बताया गया कि पाकिस्तान किस तरह से डिलिबरेटली प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप को टारगेट कर रहा है। और आज हम ये देख रहे हैं कि शंभू मंदिर के कॉम्प्लेक्स के अंदर मंदिर को कोई डैमेज नहीं हुआ है। राइट सर?
नहीं, ये गनीमत रहा, ये भोले बाबा की कृपा, आप शंभू की कृपा है। हमारे जम्मू में पहले भी कई बारी हमले हो चुके हैं, 1971 में भी, 65 में भी। हमारी बाबे वाली माता है, वो हमें बचाती है, और आज हमें यहाँ पे आप शंभू बाबा ने बचाया। बिल्कुल हमारे आंसू नहीं आ रहे हैं, लेकिन हम कहते हैं कि अगर हमें बचाने वाला है तो ये भोलेनाथ है, आप शंभू है,
भगवान की कृपा,
भोलेनाथ की कृपा, भोलेनाथ की कृपा।
ये सर कहते हैं भोलेनाथ की कृपा है कि आज सब ठीक है, ये भी ठीक है, मंदिर भी ठीक है, और भगवान की कृपा से जिस घर में ये ड्रोन अटैक इंटरसेप्ट होते हुए गिरा, कोई नहीं था। यहाँ पे हम साइन ऑफ करते हैं आपको दिखाते हुए कि कैसे प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप टारगेट हुए हैं। शंभू मंदिर कॉम्प्लेक्स में टारगेटिंग हुई है। एंड हियर ऑन द ग्राउंड विद अनूप, Barkha Dutt for Mojo Story.
Let me get comments there. Commenter Bhaskar, go ahead, sir.
Barkha, I've heard this report very carefully, and clearly, given the religious dimension, the sanctity of the temple, and you have handled it with a lot of restraint. But I have my own doubts, and I say this with a lot of, I would say, anxiety, that what we have seen over the last few days, particularly after the Pahalgam massacre and in preceding months, you have some of your colleagues in other channels who have deliberately stoked the communal angle. So I'm taking the liberty again of drawing attention to this, because this is a very sensitive issue. It's toxic, and escalation in the domestic context can happen very rapidly. And we are aware that we have seen this elsewhere in the world also, that when the religious fervor is stoked in a cynical manner, controlling it in terms of the damage to internal security, I'm limiting my observation to what will this do to the internal security fabric of the country, starting with the Pahalgam massacre. The Pahalgam massacre was a blow on India's internal security, and innocent tourists were killed. If one were to use that as the symbolism, I think the need to ensure that internal security is not degraded further because of any compulsion. I don't want to talk about one particular constituency or the other. But as your story was playing out, and the visuals, they are so powerful. If they are not used in a responsible way, and I really urge and hope the government would take cognizance of this, and they have the ability to provide the correctives, I shudder to think what some of our better known anchor warriors can do with this kind of footage. So I hope you don't take it amiss that I'm saying this on your show. This is a professional kind of responsibility and integrity
Sure, sir.
that has been missing. So I'll leave it at that.
So, sir, I take that point, and I'm trying to be as sensitive as I can in a very difficult situation, and one can only speak for one's own work. One doesn't always get it perfect, but you try the best you can. Before I come to Mr. Dhillon, I want to play out also what's been happening in Amritsar. We now have information that India neutralized kamikaze drones from Pakistan. And we've seen very dramatic images. Let me read out a few updates from the Indian retaliation. Indian Army Air Defense, sorry, could you go back to the last one? I couldn't read that. The Indian Army Air Defense neutralized Pakistani kamikaze drones over Amritsar. So that's one update on the Indian retaliation. We can move on now to the next one. After Pakistan targeted air bases, Indian armed forces took a quick and well-planned retaliatory action and targeted technical installations, command and control centers, radar sites, and arms store in Pakistan. There's one more update. Pakistani military bases at Rafiki, Murid, is it Murid? Jaklala, Rahim Yar Khan, Sukur, and Chunia were targeted through air launch, precise ammunition, and fighter jets. So India has hit back fiercely. And Commodore Bhaskar, I know you have to leave in a couple of minutes, so I'll get a last word from you on the Indian retaliation and then from Mr. Dhillon.
My brief response on the Indian retaliation is that so far, what we have seen is that it's been quite effective. One doesn't have all the tactical detail to accord any percentage, but from the early reports, the combination of the S-400, the Barak, the Akash, and other assets that we have been able to degrade the platforms, the drones, and any other projectiles that were used. But we also know that in today's context, particularly with drones, getting 100% protection is not a feasible objective. So therefore, as you have shown in that temple complex, there has been a certain amount of damage that has been carried out. And I'm sure that our armed forces and the security agencies will evolve even as the operation is unfolding. Barkha?
Thanks, Commodore Bhaskar. I know you have to leave now, but I want to, as we join Brigadier Sandy Thapar and former ADGP Gurinder Dhillon is still with us, I want to play out a very dramatic video that captures the conflict in the skies, the battle in the skies that took place in Amritsar late last night. Take a look.
जेट पे चल रहे हैं उनके जो जेट है ना उनके जेट पे चल रहे हैं जेट आ रहे हैं तो जेट आ रहे हैं जेट पे चल रहे हैं चलो बच्चे दोनों वो जेट आया भैया उनका वो जेट देखो वो जेट आ रहा है वो देखो वो जेट पे चल रहे हैं ये देखो बस चल रहे हैं चलो चलो चलो
So that's what we saw take place in Amritsar. Brigadier Thapar, good afternoon, sir. आपने कल बोला था कि it will be a night of reckoning, and I'm in Jammu. I woke up to the sound of explosions. I went to a residential colony that had been targeted in Jammu. I went to a temple that has been targeted in Jammu. The Indian Foreign Secretary, our Foreign Secretary, has been saying that there is an attempt to target places of worship to force a communal view on what is unfolding. India's retaliation has been fierce. We have neutralized kamikaze drones over Amritsar. If we can please bring up the points about the Indian retaliation. High-speed missiles have been intercepted, one in Haryana. And, here it is. Indian Army Air Defense neutralizes Pakistani kamikaze drones over Amritsar. We have also hit, in retaliatory action, technical installations, command and control centers, radar sites, and arms stores in Pakistan. And Pakistan military bases at Rafiki, Murid, Chaklala, Rahim Yar Khan, Sukur, and Chumia have been targeted through air launch, precision ammunition, and fighter jets. We also have very dramatic visuals coming from the army, released moments ago to the tune of Kadam Kadam Badhaye Ja. We can show you those also, where terrorist bases are being quote unquote reduced to cinders. I just played a report from the Shambhu temple and I'll play it out for you again. Those are the kamikaze drones over Amritsar that have been neutralized, brought down by our brilliant army air defense in Amritsar. Brigadier Thapar, night of reckoning, has turned out to be much more escalatory than I think perhaps you were thinking it would take last night.
Barkha, good morning. Maybe I should stop my predictions for now because they're turning out to be true. Let's be clear, we are at all-out war. There are no holds barred now. They've attacked our air stations and other installations. We've responded, or vice versa, whichever way it be it. Major damage has been caused to those airfields, which the top three, which were targeting against JNK and some parts of Punjab, the rest also. So we are systematically trying to reduce his air capability. It so seems. He's also launched his missiles. As I see from now, this will continue. Targeting will continue for another 24 hours. And I just do hope that it does not escalate beyond this, that they launch missiles, rather long-range missiles at certain other targets in depth, because then there'll be no stoppages. Then we will go all out. Not that we haven't, but it's still, in a way, it's still restricted to air warfare. We don't have, though we are saying that his infantry is closing up to the borders. That's a very dangerous thing which is doing. But even we've taken up defenses. So maybe I presume that he's also fortifying his defenses on the borders, and it is not any offensive designs. So let's wait and watch. I predict this will continue tonight also till he realizes that it is futile. He cannot damage our air infrastructure sufficiently, and takes a while to look at his losses and says, I've taken enough. I've got a few, 2-3 airplanes I've knocked off of the Indian Air Force, and that's victory for me. And he's already claiming silly things like, I've knocked off a S-400 base, and we've knocked their Udhampur mein, we've knocked their launch site, and all which we've refuted. Well, he has to have a bit of a victory to show his face. Let's see.
I want to Master Prabhu Dyal is joining us. Mr. Gurinder Dhillon is with us. Marshal Sunil Nanotkar is with us. I'm in Jammu. Thank you, gentlemen. Your comment, let's be clear, we are at all-out war. I'm glad you've said this. You know, what else is war? You see, war comes in different shapes and sizes, right? And manifestation. We are now seeing a situation where Pakistan has targeted our military bases. Pakistan has targeted our civilians in Firozpur in Jammu. Pakistan has targeted or attempted to target our places of worship. Brigadier Thapar, I don't know if you're distracted for a moment, but I want to pick up this comment of yours. This
Sorry,
is war.
you were asking me.
Yes.
Could you repeat your question, please?
Is this not war?
This is war. We say that's what I said. Let's be clear. We are in an all-out war. Maybe day 4 till day 4 we weren't. We were targeting surreptitiously, not surreptitiously. Well, we were targeting the own side of the border. We were restricting ourselves to certain installations which would flare up the matters. But yesterday, last night was we targeted each other's airfields, air bases, other vital installations. We are a lot on what? I have no doubts on that.
Right. Let me, with that very somber thought, because war is not a video game, war is a serious matter. Brigadier Sandy Thapar says we're at all-out war. Let's get reactions. Marshal, I'll start with you. We now officially know that high-speed missiles were attempted. Those intrusions were quelled. The missile was intercepted in Haryana. We know that kamikaze drones were neutralized over Amritsar. A government officer, by the way, very tragically has been killed here in this region, and a temple has been targeted. A residential colony has been targeted. There's Omar Abdullah meeting with the family of the government officer. I want to just look up his name, Mr. Thapa. Mr. Thapa, who has been killed in pub. He was just doing meetings. Rajkumar Thapa is his name. वो कल शाम तक meetings कर रहे थे on helping people. And could we get the image up, please? It seems to have turned blue. He has been killed in shelling. And as Brigadier Thapar just said, this is all-out war. Kushal Mehra is with us at well. Marshal, your first reactions.
Yeah, first of all, good afternoon to all the viewers and all the panelists. Thank you, Barkha. Barkha, we have heard and seen that right from Jammu and Kashmir till Kutch, the entire IB and LOC has been targeted by Pakistan. So, like what Brigadier Thapar has said, though officially we have not used this word that it's an all-out war, but I think he's right in indicating that what is it if it's not war? So I fully agree and endorse his views. Secondly, like you said that now targeting has been extended from specific airfields, specific military targets to civilian areas, and so much so that they have even there is a news of they're targeting a hospital. And if that is the level of which they are escalating, then I think India is well within rights to go without any limits of conventional warfare. And I fully endorse Brigadier Thapa's views. And just see the way the targeting has been done. Initially, they were only restricting themselves to military target, cross-border firing. They violated the ceasefire totally along the border on the close target, and now they are taking on targets in depth. Imagine a missile being intercepted close to Sirsa. That means you can imagine where this missile was heading. Another 75 to 80 kilometers is Delhi. So I think Pakistan is, I think, gone out of their mind to escalate to this level, and I think we have to take it to the next level. I'm quite certain.
What is that next level, Marshal? Very quickly, then I'll come to Master Dyal. I have a next level.
Sorry?
What is
we
that
were
next level?
we were restricting ourselves only to the military targets, the air bases, and now, of course, there are ammo dumps. You name any kind of targets, and now next level is their industry. We can take on their critical industry. See, if we have to teach them right kind of lessons, I think these are the things that you have to cripple them economically. You have to cripple them militarily, and that is the only way this nation is going to come to terms with life. And we have been decent in restricting ourselves. The constraint that has been shown by our leadership is immense, and I think if they are going to test it likewise, then I think we need to look at their economic targets also.
Talking about the economics of it, Ambassador Dyal, the IMF did not block the loan. It is, I'm feeling, I rarely feel unparliamentary, but in my language, I feel unparliamentary often. I rarely express my unparliamentary sentiments. This is galling, sir. Ambassador Dyal, just in case you joined us a little late, let me tell you, we were together last night and we said the night would be critical. In Jammu this morning, at about 5 a.m., I jumped out of bed because I heard explosions. I went running out and, like everybody else, discovered that residential colonies where women and children live were targeted. A temple was targeted. I play out that report. Our military installations, there was an attempt to target them. We have a comment now from the military that health facilities, hospitals. Can I have that banner on the screen on what happened yeah, there it is. Pakistan targets hospitals, school premises in Srinagar, Avantipura, and Udhampur. Right? And Brigadier Thapar and Air Marshal have just said, what is this if it's not war? And the IMF gives them a loan. Your take, Ambassador.
Well, Barkha, thanks for having me on your show again. Now, before I say anything on the IMF loan, which was sanctioned for Pakistan yesterday, let me dwell on a few quick points which the Foreign Secretary made during his briefing and which are very important. Firstly, he made it very clear that Pakistan is targeting civilians. There are a number of attacks which took place last night, which were on civilian targets. Secondly, he made it very clear that a lot of news which is coming from Pakistan is fake, and that Pakistan is indulging in fake propaganda. We have to be careful as Indians to be able to sift through between what is true and what is false. Thirdly, he pointed out how religious sites in India are being targeted, and the blame is being placed by the Pakistani side on India. They have wrongly tried to project as if the attacks on Sikh Gurdwaras were carried out by the Indian Air Force. So this is very mischievous. Fourthly, and this is a very important point, the Pakistanis have spread a false narrative that India has targeted some sites in Afghanistan. They have tried to wean Afghanistan and the Pashtuns away from the battle which they are engaged in against Pakistan. It's well known that Afghanistan doesn't accept the Durand Line, and the Pashtuns are fighting for a separate state. They want to break away from Pakistan. So this was a deliberate attempt by the Pakistani establishment to somehow make it appear that India is the real enemy and that India is targeting sites in Afghanistan. We have negated that. Now, about the IMF loan. You know, the main player in the IMF is the United States of America. And the United States of America should know that every dollar which is given in assistance to Pakistan is utilized for terrorism. And the Americans should know that that terrorism hurts them also. You know, the 26/11 attacks which took place in Mumbai in 2008 killed a lot of Indians. There were about 216 people who died, but some of them were American citizens. And the Americans should not forget that because it was masterminded from Pakistan. Then again, where was Osama bin Laden found hiding? Where was he killed? He was found hiding just a mile away from the military academy in Abbottabad. So the Americans should know for sure the sort of involvement which Pakistan has with terrorism. And now to get this $1 billion loan approved for Pakistan is surely a very, very big mistake because there's no doubt that the Pakistanis will divert this money for this war effort, and which in turn will mean the sort of support to terror which the Pakistani establishment has been giving, and now the United States has indirectly done through the IMF. So I'm really aghast. We had made all efforts to make the Americans realize that they should not approve this loan, but I'm afraid the American intelligence sort of, the thinking has totally wrong, despite the fact that many academics and intellectuals within the United States had pleaded with the American establishment not to get this loan approved.
I just want to give an update that Marco Rubio, US Secretary of State, has called the Pakistan Army Chief. So be under no illusion that Shehbaz Sharif is a puppet, and he has urged de-escalation with India. I had a pretty bizarre experience this morning on social media. Kushal knows about this. As I was filing my ground reports, I have a Pakistani politician, Shireen Mazari, basically write to me on this platform that she's coming for India and she's coming for me, and Pakistan is coming for us. And I'm very proud to share with all of you that our channel has been blocked and banned in Pakistan. So I wear that as a badge of honor. Yay. Well done, all of you. for ensuring that Pakistan has banned us. But Kushal, let's get to the serious stuff. I want to play out what happened at Shambhu Temple, the complex earlier today. India has been making this point repeatedly, and Ambassador Dyal just mentioned this. A deliberate targeting. It was a Gurdwara, then a Christian school, and now the Shambhu Temple has been targeted. The Indian Air Defense, of course, was able to thwart that, but the targeting was clear. Take a look at this ground.
Jammu में है जहां पे as we've been reporting Pakistan drone attacks have targeted residential colonies, but right now हम शंभू मंदिर में हैं, the complex. दोबारा गेट दिखाऊंगी, आप वहां देख सकते हैं मेन गेट पे लिखा है कृपया पुनः पधारें. This is the शंभू मंदिर, और इस कॉम्प्लेक्स के अंदर पाकिस्तान ड्रोन अटैक was intercepted, लेकिन यहाँ पर शंभू टेम्पल कॉम्प्लेक्स जो है उसकी टारगेटिंग हुई है. यहाँ पे हमारे साथ सर है जो हमें बताएंगे कि क्या हुआ. पर चलते चलते इधर जाते हैं क्योंकि पीछे मैं दिखाना चाहूंगी कि मंदिर को डैमेज नहीं हुआ है, मैं कहना चाहती हूँ, लेकिन कॉम्प्लेक्स के अंदर जो एक घर है उस तरफ आप वो घर देख सकते हैं और घर की बालकनी देख सकते हैं, और आप देख सकते हैं कि बालकनी को किस तरह से ब्लास्ट हुआ है बालकनी. और अगर आप पीछे आए तो हम सर से बात करते हैं. तो सर आप बताइए कि क्या हुआ.
ये मैडम सुबह 5:30 बजे का वाकया है. तो शेलिंग शुरू हुई, ब्लास्टिंग शुरू हुई, तो हम सारे सोए हुए थे तो जाग गए, और जाके अभी हम जागे हुए थे तो एकदम 6 बजे, जैसे ही 6 बजते हैं, 6 बजे एकदम जोर से ब्लास्ट होता है. ऐसे लगता है कोई बम गिरा या मिसाइल गिरी है या ड्रोन गिरा, ये तो हमें पता नहीं क्या गिरा, लेकिन बहुत जोर से ब्लास्ट हुआ. ऐसे लगा कि मेरे ही छत पे ये ब्लास्ट हुआ.
आप यही रहते हैं?
बिल्कुल मेरे बगल में मेरा घर है. इस घर
और ये मंदिर को तो कोई नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा?
नहीं, ये मंदिर को कोई नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा. ये प्राचीन, हजारों वर्ष प्राचीन मंदिर है हमारा. ये यहाँ पे आप शंभू मंदिर का प्राचीन मंदिर, हजारों वर्ष पुराना है. यहाँ पे लाखों की तादाद में शिवरात्रि के दिन लोग यहाँ पे अपना माथा टेकने आते हैं, और शनिवार और रविवार के दिन यहाँ पे श्रद्धालु हजारों की संख्या में आते हैं माथा टेकने. बिल्कुल 100 मीटर की दूरी पर है. और ये आप देख सकते हैं, ये आप शंभू मंदिर का प्रवेश द्वार है. ये बिल्कुल आप शंभू मंदिर का प्रवेश द्वार है. यहाँ से श्रद्धालु मंदिर की तरफ जाते हैं.
मैं 1 मिनट दिखाना चाहती हूँ डिस्टेंस के लिए. सर आप हमारे साथ ही रहिए. सर आपका नाम नहीं बताया?
मेरा नाम संजीव बख्शी है, मैं रूपनगर में ही रहता हूँ.
अच्छा, तो वो है मंदिर का द्वार, और उससे बल्कि 10 मीटर भी दूर नहीं ये घर है जहाँ पे ये ब्लास्टिंग हुई है. लास्ट कैमरा टू मूव इन. हाँ जी सर बताते रहिए हमें. उसके बाद क्या हुआ?
उसके बाद जैसे ही मैं घर की छत पे चढ़ता हूँ, घर की छत पे चढ़ के देखता हूँ कि यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, तो ऐसे धुएं का गुबार सा एक उठता है.
सायरन बजा पहले.
हाँ, ये प्लस पॉइंट है हमारा कि सायरन बजा, नहीं तो यहाँ पे श्रद्धालु चलते हैं. तो सायरन बज चुका था और सब लोग अलर्ट हो गए थे, सारे अपने अपने घरों में थे. तो मैं छत पे चढ़ा, नहीं तो बहुत ज्यादा कैजुअलिटी होनी थी.
बिल्कुल
बहुत ज्यादा, क्योंकि यहाँ पे श्रद्धालु जाते हैं, बहुत ज्यादा कैजुअलिटी होनी थी. मैं छत पे चढ़ के देखता हूँ धुएं का गुबार. फिर मैं बाहर आता हूँ. जैसे ही बाहर आता हूँ, बाहर आके देखता हूँ कि हमारे घर के ही बैक साइड में तो ये घर है. घर बंद पड़ा, पुराना घर है. ये जिनका घर था वो बेच के वो चले गए.
तो घर के अंदर कोई नहीं?
घर के अंदर कोई नहीं था.
फिर दिखाना चाहती हूँ, घर खाली था. थैंक गॉड, भगवान की कृपा से घर खाली था. ये घर जिस पे द ड्रोन फेल एज इट वाज बीइंग इंटरसेप्टेड, वो खाली था. फिर जूम इन करके जरा दिखाइए. और सर थोड़ा आगे यहाँ पे भी हम देख सकते हैं, अगर कैमरा यहाँ वापस आए तो आप जमीन पे ये जो हम देख रहे हैं सर, इसके बारे में
ये अब ये पता नहीं है कि ये ड्रोन का है या मिसाइल का है, पर आप ये खुद दे सकते हैं. ये टुकड़े, ये मेरे हाथ में भी ये टुकड़ा है. ये
अच्छा, आपके हाथ में भी है?
ये टुकड़े हैं. अब ये मिसाइल के टुकड़े हैं या ड्रोन के टुकड़े हैं, ये पुलिस का इन्वेस्टिगेशन का विषय है. ये पुलिस इन्वेस्टिगेट करेगी कि ये किसके टुकड़े हैं. लेकिन जहां तक मुझे लगता है ये ड्रोन अटैक है, और बड़े जबरदस्त तरीके का ड्रोन अटैक हुआ है. और ये टारगेट जो यहाँ पे मैम आपको मैं बता दूं, 10-15 दिन पहले जब ये वार लाइक सिचुएशन बन रही थी, तो यहाँ पे 10 दिन पहले यहाँ पे एनएसजी कमांडो द्वारा मॉक ड्रिल की गई थी इसी मंदिर के प्रांगण.
अच्छा, तो मतलब प्रिकॉशन के तौर पे
यहाँ पे ड्रिल की गई थी. तो ये जो टारगेट था मंदिर को ही टारगेट, अब जो रिहायशी
आपको लगता है कि डिलिबरेटली मंदिर को टारगेट किया
बिल्कुल
गया है?
बिल्कुल ये मंदिर को हिट किया गया। क्योंकि ये हजारों वर्ष पुराना प्राचीन मंदिर है, हमारा जम्मू का प्राचीन मंदिर है। मैं आपको पहले भी बता चुका हूँ, यहाँ पे शिवरात्रि के दिन लाखों की तादाद में यहाँ पे श्रद्धालु अपना माथा टेकने आते हैं, और सोमवार और शनिवार के दिन हजारों की तादाद में लोग आते हैं। और आज मैम आपको भी पता है शनिवार है, और शनिवार के दिन यहाँ पे मंदिर में यहाँ से ही लोग इसी रास्ते से।
कितने बजे शुरू होता है वो?
ये सुबह 4 बजे शुरू हो जाते हैं
तो
बाबा
आप
के
ये
दर्शन
कह रहे
के
हैं
लिए।
कि शनिवार के दिन यहाँ पूजा होती है और बहुत लोग होते हैं?
पूजा अर्चना रोज होती है, लेकिन भोले बाबा के मंदिर में शनिवार और सोमवार के दिन काफी रश होता है।
ये संजीव जी हमें बहुत जरूरी बात बता रहे हैं। आपको याद होगा कि कल फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी की जो ब्रीफिंग थी, उन्होंने उसमें कहा कि पाकिस्तान जान के गुरुद्वारा, मंदिर और क्रिश्चियन स्कूल्स को भी टारगेट कर रहा है। पूंछ की बात की उन्होंने। अब यहाँ हम शंभू मंदिर के कॉम्प्लेक्स के अंदर हैं, और यहाँ पे लोगों को फीलिंग है कि क्योंकि यहाँ पहले भी मॉक ड्रिल्स हो चुकी है, और यहाँ पे आज सैटरडे है, बड़ी तादाद में इसी रास्ते से, बिल्कुल इसी रास्ते से, जिस रास्ते के किनारे ये पाकिस्तान ड्रोन अटैक हुआ है, दोबारा आपको दिखाऊंगी। थोड़ा वहां पे करीब हम चलते हैं। सर आप भी हमारे साथ आ जाइए, थोड़ा सा आप देखते हैं। तो सर बता रहे हैं कि सैटरडे को यूजुअली यहाँ बहुत लोग होते हैं, लेकिन सायरन बज गया।
हाँ,
और लोग बच गए।
सायरन बज चुका था पहले। सायरन की आवाज हमने सुनी तो सारे बड़ी जोरदार से धमाके हो रहे थे, शेलिंग हो रही
क्या
थी।
देखा आपने? डिस्क्राइब करो, आपने क्या देखा?
जैसे ही ये ब्लास्ट हुआ, मैं घर की पहले तो अपने छत पे चढ़ता हूँ।
ओके।
छत पे चढ़ के मैं देखता हूँ तो एकदम धुआं उड़ रहा है। अब ये देखता हूँ कि ये धुआं कहाँ से उड़ रहा है। तो ऐसे ही नजर अपनी घुमाता हूँ, तो अपने बैक साइड से देखता हूँ, तो मुझे लगता है कि ये मेरे ही घर के पीछे ब्लास्ट हुआ है। तो मैं घर से बाहर आता हूँ। इतनी देर में मेरे को मेरे दोस्तों के रिश्तेदारों के फोन आने शुरू हो जाते हैं कि ऐसे ऐसे ये बमबारी जम्मू में हो रही है। तो मैंने कहा बमबारी तो हो रही है, जम्मू में हो रही है, बड़ी जबरदस्त तरीके से हो रही है। हम तो अंदर बैठे हुए हैं, हम तो अंदर बैठे हुए हैं। तो बाहर आके देखता हूँ तो ये घर के पूरी गैलरी है, ये गैलरी टूट गई है। बिजली के खंभे हैं मैडम, आप देख सकते हैं, ये 2 पीस हो गए हैं। ये पेड़ है, ये देखिए ये पेड़ भी टूट गया।
मैं दिखाना चाहती हूँ यहाँ पे ये जो पेड़ है वो भी that has also been hit, and आप ये देखिए, this is the remains of that intercepted drone attack here on the Shambhu Mandir. अब हम यहाँ से निकलते हैं, ये रिमाइंड करते हुए, अगर कैमरा मेरे सामने आ जाए, तो हम यहाँ पे ये रिमाइंड सबको कराना चाहते हैं कि कल ही प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में बताया गया कि पाकिस्तान किस तरह से डिलिबरेटली प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप को टारगेट कर रहा है। और आज हम ये देख रहे हैं कि शंभू मंदिर के कॉम्प्लेक्स के अंदर मंदिर को कोई डैमेज नहीं हुआ है। राइट सर?
नहीं, ये गनीमत रहा, ये भोले बाबा की कृपा, आप शंभू की कृपा है। हमारे जम्मू में पहले भी कई बारी हमले हो चुके हैं, 1971 में भी, 65 में भी। हमारी बाबे वाली माता है, वो हमें बचाती है, और आज हमें यहाँ पे आप शंभू बाबा ने बचाया। बिल्कुल हम हमारे आंसू नहीं आ रहे हैं, लेकिन हम कहते हैं कि अगर हमें बचाने वाला है तो ये भोलेनाथ है, आप शंभू है।
भगवान की कृपा,
भोलेनाथ की कृपा है, भोलेनाथ की कृपा।
ये सर कहते हैं भोलेनाथ की कृपा है कि आज सब ठीक है, ये भी ठीक है, मंदिर भी ठीक है, और भगवान की कृपा से जिस घर में ये ड्रोन अटैक इंटरसेप्ट होते हुए गिरा, कोई नहीं था। यहाँ पे हम साइन ऑफ करते हैं, आपको दिखाते हुए कि कैसे प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप टारगेट हुए हैं। शंभू मंदिर कॉम्प्लेक्स में टारगेटिंग हुई है। एंड हियर ऑन द ग्राउंड विद अनूप, Barkha Dutt for Mojo Story.
Barkha, can I come in?
Yes, Mr. Dylan, I was going to go to Kushal, but you can come in, please, and then I'll come to him. And I think Tushar
Yeah,
is also,
because-
yeah, there's Tushar. Hi, Tushar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Dylan, sir, go ahead, please, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Barkha. What I want to add, I have seen this footage, and of course, it is very sad, emotionally troubling. But thankfully, Shambhu Mandir is safe. But I want to add few points, like what I have done, that I had written one article war preparation, civil defense, and internal security, the pillars of wartime civilian security. We need to be very careful about this. Now, as per, I want to add only these 2-3 points because they are very important. As now we are coming to the attacks by the Pakistan on civilian targets. We have two kind of targets. One is vital installation. Second is vulnerable points. These points are very, very important and they are very well protected. But I want to add that all such places be avoided because they will be target of Pakistani misadventure. Number two, what I have seen from your footage is that after the attack, there was gathering. Now, this is common feature that if you are attacking civilian people, if the enemy is targeting civilians, they will ensure that once the target has been achieved and people gather again, they will attack again. This I had seen even in 71 also. Out of
Yes, sir.
these 2 points, I want through your this medium, and I want to tell your viewers that please, other thing which I saw, and these are the 40 checkpoints which I mentioned in that article. The two important
Yes, sir.
points are, please, two important points are: do not approach fallen debris from armaments, drones, or fighter aircraft. These can be highly dangerous. Let professional
Important.
handle for disposal, and the local people be advised to call 112 or 10, whichever is emergency response system. Second
You made
point
a
which I
very
would like,
हाँ जी आप
yes,
बोलिए फिर मैं ये सर एक मिनट सर आपने एक बहुत
second
जरूरी बात की है अच्छा आप सेकंड पॉइंट बोल दीजिए देन आई स्पीक आप बोलिए
second point what I want to say is that avoid visiting religious places located near vital installation and vulnerable points to minimize the risk of collateral damage, because it has happened in past, and the desperation of enemy, they will make further an attempt to do this thing, and you will find like they had targeted our vulnerable point, which is Shambhu Mandir, but the other residential building what had all the bridges, roads. Yes, please carry on.
No, I just want to thank you for making two very practical points because मैं जहां जा रही हूँ लोगों ने डेबरी अपने हाथ में रखी हुई है they have picked it
Very
up to
sad.
show and it is a very important PSA that you have just done that लोग ऐसे ना करें आप में से जो भी ये देख रहे हैं अगर आपको ड्रोन की डेबरी दिखती है तो उसको जाके उठाए मत उठाइए और दूसरी की बात आप एडवाइस दे रहे हैं कि कुछ देर तक जो रिलीजियस प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप है especially close to military bases and military garrison towns unse thoda dur rahiye in fact I want to come to Kushal and Tushar now you know the local resident there telling me that today is Saturday and on Saturday at the Shambhu Mandir hazaron ki taadaad mein log aate hain and thankfully the air sirens were sounded and lives were saved otherwise God knows what could have happened. Now once again I don't want to cause panic. India's air defense system is thwarting, foiling, retaliating with great success. But, Kushal, you said this on the first day. Places of worship are being targeted. I have now gone to the mandir where it happened. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone, and I want to once again start by appreciating everybody. It's at times like this that every Indian has come together, and I want to appreciate that. I'm not surprised, Barkha, that they are attacking places of worship because what differentiates us from them, India from Pakistan, is that speech by Asim Munir when Asim Munir said that he believed Hindus and Muslims were two different people, and they try to play this card every single time, and they don't realize the resolve of the average Indian, and they're going to be beaten this time too. I apologize if I might sound a little angry today because I have not slept. I have not slept a minute. मैं पूरी रात जागा रहा. I mean, I just couldn't sleep. I was so angry. And in fact, one more thing I would request everyone is, I know we conduct our programs in English, but most Indians still prefer regional language communication. So whatever communication we do, like in fact, I would have told sir, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਚੰਗਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ people should understand the local language, because like if we speak in Hindi, we speak in Punjabi, we speak in, like I'm from Maharashtra, so Marathi or stuff like that. It helps. I think it reaches people more, and what has been exposed today is actually what Pakistan is all about, and now we just have to wait and watch about where this goes. Honestly, I hope we don't make the mistakes of 1971. That's my sincere fear. We don't make the mistakes of 1971. This time, we finish the freaking job. We finish the freaking job. We don't make the mistake we did in 1971. That's my big. In fact, रात को मैं तुषार को फोन कर रहा था, नहीं 3-4 बजे मैं और तुषार बात कर रहे थे. मैंने तुषार को बोला यार फिर से 71 की बेवकूफी ना कर दें हम लोग. फिर वही करने वाले हैं. मेरे को वो डर है. इस समय मुझे डर हुआ. मुझे हार का डर नहीं है. मुझे जीत के बाद हम क्या करेंगे उसका डर है.
Your reference, of course, is to the return of the POWs that took place in 1971. Air Marshal is back with us. Tushar
Not
is
just
here.
that, Barkha. Not just that.
Yeah.
We had thousands of kilometers of property that we had taken over from Pakistan on the other side in the Sindh area. हमने अभी पंजाबी का word है. People will appreciate. शुदाइयों के जैसे हमने वो लैंड वापस कर दिया. अभी इस बार हम शुदाई ना बने, मैं वो कह रहा हूँ. या महाराष्ट्र में हम येड़ा बोलते हैं उसको, येड़े के जैसे कर दिया. अभी हम वो येड़े ना बन जाए हम लोग. इस बार नहीं करते हम लोग. मेरे को वो टेंशन हो रही है क्योंकि we are going to win. It's a given. But what do we do after winning?
But before we come to what we do after winning, we have to understand what's going to happen next, right? I want to play out before all of you respond. The army released a video. The army released a video and it gave a statement saying that terrorist bases have been pulverized and reduced to cinders. I want to play this up. This is an army release. Take a look. So to the tunes of Kadam Kadam Badhaye Ja, that's an official video release about what the army action is at the line of control. I want Air Marshal and Brigadier Thapar to come in, and then Tushar. Brigadier Thapar, I'll start with you, sir. Can't hear Brigadier Thapar. Can we unmute him, please?
I must confess I'm that this video has probably been made by my erstwhile organization, the PI Directorate, and I love the music part of it, and it's current. So, on the thing of the Mandir attack, let me say the Pakistan Army has no principles, no scruples. Why I say, because this has not been targeted by a missile. This is a drone, and a drone is controlled till the last moment. You are seeing where it is going. Somebody is controlling that thing. So this is deliberate. It is not that it was flying on a pre-programmed flight and the enemy target. That is, we targeted it and went a little alright. No, it was planned to go and hit there, and if it had not been targeted, it would have probably caused more damage. So we are fighting a scrupulous army, and we've got to be clear. And I'm grateful that the previous speakers earlier said that we should avoid going to these places for the time being, especially in the areas prone to enemy this thing. Well, as I see, this is likely to come. See, the fact that we are so forthcoming with information and even videos means we have ascendancy. We are winning so far. So we are justifying, and we're putting out information and not hiding, and not unlike the Pak this thing. Even their official handles are putting out false propaganda and video game footage to justify air encounters and all. So I'm let's wait for the things to develop for another 12 to 14 hours or 12 to 18 hours today, and hopefully we will see the thing go either way. It'll, like you said, the US rep spoke to the Pak chief, and rightly he was the power center. Whether that has any effect on Pak designs should be evident in the next 24 hours.
Hey, Marshall, let's bring you in. Both of you agree that we are in a state of war, and I completely agree with you as well. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? You know, Kushal is talking about let's not make the mistakes of 1971. I think first we have to escalatory ladder ki baat hoti rehti hai. Where are we on that?
I agree with Kushal in what he's expressing, but he has reached the end state already in his mind, so which is a good thing. But before reaching there, I would love to teach Pakistan a bigger lesson this time, to take them to such a level. They, even with IMF help, whatever they are getting, they should not be able to think beyond just trying to trying to just put their head up and breathe. That's about it. We should definitely be able to disseminate them to that level, is what I feel, because see, they are working with no boundaries as of now. And what I saw in your footage, where a small drone, maybe 10 to 15 kgs of warhead explosive they have used in this, and that would have been enough if had the uh, people who are visiting that temple on a regular basis on Saturday, as you said, if they were out and the warning was not adequate that time. So, and these are all very specifically, like Brigadier Thapar said, these are very, very specific target, systems, weapon systems, which are targeted with very, very high accuracy. Okay, and in this kind of situation, if these are the kind of targets that Pakistan Army is going to engage, I think they are crossing all the limits of restraints, and I think we should now teach them a proper lesson where we start attacking their economic targets and put them on the ground where they really have to go to the entire world, and first and foremost they have to come to India to say that okay, we have learnt our lessons, and no more.
I want to actually bring up how India has responded. There was a very detailed thing, but as those banners are coming up, I want to bring in Tushar. I want to compliment Tushar for something that he noticed that has now become something that the military briefing is reiterating every day. And that is, Tushar noticed a lot of, what should I call it, air activity over the airports in Pakistan at a time when there was this sort of battle in the skies. And he wondered why on this program. And for the next, for the last 2 days, we know why. Today, we were told again that Pakistan is using civilian airliners as a shield against Indian retaliation. In other words, they are willing to endanger the lives, possibly of their own people, possibly of people from other. They're ready to kill their own people, possibly. They're basically hiding behind civilians in the air because they're not closing civilian airspace. And what Tushar picked up has now been mentioned twice at our official briefing. Tushar, over to you.
Right. Barkha, interestingly, it's just not the PI airlines. These are not just the domestic aircrafts. These are also airlines that are catering to the international audience, one of them coming from Dubai, Bahrain, all those. And right now I'm looking at the air activity in Pakistan, it's almost zero. It's actually zero. It's not even almost zero, it's actually zero. One contrast I would like to highlight, because a former journalist, a member of the Rajya Sabha, pointed out that Sirsa is just 200 kilometers away from Delhi. Lahore is just 500 kilometers away from Delhi. And I must laud the fact that the operations at the Indira Gandhi International Airport haven't been disrupted so far. They haven't been disrupted. And we've been tracking this for the last 3 or 4 days. The flights are taking off, international flights, domestic flights, even up till Dehradun in the north, right? So we have to also sort of, because there are a lot of critics already on social media who are saying, look, they've come in as far as Sirsa, or they have come in as Bathinda or Jammu, wherever. Number two, you were talking about the places of worship. I think it's now very clear that if this escalates, and I don't know if they've already attempted that, we won't know because the forces are already foiling those attacks. Katra could become a target point as well. Katra witnesses a heavy rush every single day because of the Mata Vaishno Devi shrine, and they are attacking the places of worship. So that is also a worrying point. So I am sure a lot of precautions must be already in place there, a lot of drills and whatever else is required to mobilize the people. Number three, to continue from where air marshals are left, what is the objective of India now? Now we have seen that our biggest worry from Pakistan used to be infiltration. Oh, it's the summer season, we might have an infiltration problem. What has happened in the last 3 days changes everything. Now it's going to be drones in the future. We are not worried about men willing to blow themselves up at the LOC. Now we are worried about drones that are going to be blown up on civilian infrastructure in the border states across the Western Front. So how do we create a deterrence? A lot of people say that what happened after Pulwama brought us deterrence for the next 6 years. But what we do now should bring us deterrence at least for the next 20, 30, 40 years until Pakistan disintegrates completely, which is what its destiny is. So one interesting thing that is happening right now, majority of the action is taking place in Punjab, Pakistan. The Punjab, which is in Pakistan, just to be very clear for the audience. That is the defense power center. That is the economic power center. You sort of attack Punjab, or you hit Punjab, or you dent Punjab. You hit their agriculture economy, you hit the industrial economy, you're hitting the elites, you're hitting the defense ecosystem. So if we have to create a deterrence for the future, and I'm probably this is an objective the government will have to establish, that, okay, this is an area we want to cut out from the state. It's that simple. Probably taking back Kartarpur corridor or things like that. I mean, that's just, the government has to decide. The armed forces have to decide. But the idea here is, what is that one deterrent we can create that if you sort of mess with that the next time anywhere in India, then we are coming for you completely, right? It has to be an objective that, because also when we spoke yesterday night, my question remained the same. What is the objective that both the forces are using? It's fine. They are sending drones. We are sending drones. They are sending missiles. We'll send a bigger missile and we'll outnumber them. We'll outshine them. But how do we create a deterrence for the next 2 decades? That's the big question.
So let me get Brigadier Thapar, Kushal and Marshal to come in on that. Brigadier Thapar, I'll start with you. From here, where you said this is all out war. So from here, where?
See, Barkha, I have a little bit of disagreement on the end state. If we are looking at total decimation of Pakistan, or subjugating it to the level, bringing it to the level where it doesn't do any of this, it's going to be very, very difficult. All out, we may reach the nuclear threshold. Whether it's employed or no, it's a different thing. Because I laugh when the social media people say,
Can you explain that comment?
Yes.
We may touch
Because
the nuclear threshold. What does it mean?
Pakistan, Barkha, is a professional army. They've got a standing army of 7 odd lakhs, barring a little bit on Afghan border. bulk of it's facing us. And if you see our commitment on the China border, we've got a similar parity facing. Yes, we can get certain elements from the China border to achieve decisive victory in the selected area. But to completely humiliate and finish off Pakistan armed forces is going to be a long drawn battle, which will bleed us also. So we've got to set our aims very clearly, what we've got to, and if we actually start doing that and succeed substantially, he has no. I remember an old comment by somebody when asked Pakistani, he asked that what if US comes and tries to take over your nuclear weapons, what do you do? He says, "और कुछ नहीं, हम हिंदुस्तान पे फेंक देंगे." So they have that kind of mentality that okay, we are lost, use them. So I don't think I'm sure the Prime Minister has very clear aim in his mind in this instance. And if it escalates, how much? How much do we want to inflict pain on them, which goes on 5-10 years later? They've not learned. He's right. The previous speaker was right. Unless we give them extreme pain, they will not learn. So, but at what cost? That is something or I'm apprehensive over that whether we can do that. And so it's a word of caution that keep our
let me
aim limited and maybe.
But you are saying you are saying that they're demented enough that this conflict could touch the nuclear threshold. Brigadier Thapar?
Yes. I
again
say
not to cause again. I don't want to cause any panic, so I want to be very responsible in understanding.
No. At the present, no. At present, there's no chance. If nuclear threshold is 10, we are at 2 at the moment, right? So when before we reach there, there's much more. Probably when a land battle starts, we are 5-6. But if a protracted land battle continues, sea, air force, everything used, maybe we might go on a 6-7. It might stop there. But if we succeed, which we might after some time, succeed in grabbing say portions of PAK, substantial portions of POK, and inflicting heavy damage onto Pakistani armor, air force, everything, it might just go on to a 9-10.
All right, Kushal wanted to come in, and then I want to talk about the use of missiles. Because a missile has been intercepted in Haryana, and Air Marshal was saying that's 80 kilometers from Delhi. Kushal, go ahead.
So I have 2-3 points over here. Pakistan has often used the nuclear bogey, and while I understand the points being made over here, at the end of the day, it's not as if it only applies on us and it doesn't apply on them. As it's not like they are the nuclear powered one, but we are not. That is point number one. And even from whatever I've read, even in nuclear usage of nuclear weapons, there are stages in that too. It's not like मैंने निकाल दिए, मैंने सारे डाल दिए एक ही झटके में तेरे ऊपर. It does not go like that. We also assume that they don't like to live, and only we are the ones who like to live. I mean, I refuse to believe that, because there are enough people in Pakistan who would also want to live. We keep making assumptions as if the other generals will not come and literally, if needed, bump Asim Munir off, or the Janta just starts up. Okay, tell me this scenario. Okay, something starts happening with the BLA in Balochistan right now. Forget all of that. We are in Punjab. Notice how Indian government is not doing anything outside of Punjab. We're not doing much in Sindh. We're not doing anything in KPK. We're not doing anything in Balochistan. The Indian government is sending a really strong message, and we are doing whatever we are doing is actually in the heart of Pakistan, which is Punjab. Now, what if PTI supporters come down on the road and they say, "Nahi, ye tumhari wajah se hua hai. Hamare leader ko bahar lao. Imran Khan ko bahar lao." I'm just creating what? And what? The Pakistan army is going to then shoot thousands of people who support the PTI. There are so many variables involved in this, and I don't see why. Actually, Pakistan counts on this very factor that we are the ones who are the rational players in this, and they just keep using this bogey all the time. I think we have pretty much called out the nuclear bogey here. Okay, tell me, why should they not go nuclear at this stage? Like, we hit their air bases. Why should they not? Like I have never understood this logic. Like, why should they not do it now? Why should they do it at 8th stage later on? Uh, I don't buy it. And who says that we have to capture land in Pakistan outside of POK? All I'm saying is that a fragmented Pakistan is much easier to deal for us as a country than a united Pakistan. I mean, we can have separate relations with Balochistan, we can have separate relations with Sindh, we can have separate relations with KPK. So my whole point is we don't want any part of Pakistan outside of what they have captured from us, which is the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Everything else we're fine with. We don't want Balochistan. So there are many things that can be done. And who's to say the Talibanis don't start fighting the Pakistanis right now in the next few days? Tab kya? And the entire nuclear argument, why hasn't Russia nuked Ukraine in the last 2.5, 3 years? Can somebody answer that? Why haven't Russians, or are Pakistanis even worse than Russians? Or what is so special about Russians? There are so many questions over here. So I think we should not dismiss all of them.
Let's get responses to some of those questions raised by Kushal. I also want to play out for you the report that we have here from Jammu on how residential colonies were targeted. It's very important to hear those voices. But first, Air Marshal, then Tushar, and then Brigadier Thapar. Air Marshal, could you please talk a little bit about the use of missiles by Pakistan? That was confirmed at the official briefing today. Meanwhile, we have an update. EAM Jaishankar has had a conversation with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio this morning. India's approach has always been measured and responsible and remains so. Air Marshal, the use of missiles by Pakistan, sir, please, if you can talk about the interception that, according to reports, has taken place in Haryana, and the attempt made also to target the Khasa Cantonment area in Amritsar. I had said from the first day that because we have hit Pakistan in Punjab, which dominates its army, its wealth, its politics, they will hit Jammu and Kashmir, but they will be obsessed with our Punjab. But talk a little bit about this missile.
Yeah, Barkha, we are fully aware of their missile capability, and we have enough to intercept all kinds of missiles that they have, including the ballistic missiles. So that is what our defense system has proven, that you fire a missile and we will be able to intercept. Actually, the logic is since generally the ballistic missile trajectories are known, your intention is to intercept them as early as possible. So and there are various stages that you have the defense system. So everybody is aware on this panel that we have up to the BMD available with us in the country and well deployed. So suffices to say that any missile attack from Pakistan, there are huge chances that we will be able to intercept those missiles and not allow it to reach the destination. Yes, despite all our efforts, I think when we were talking right in the beginning on the day one, when you were in Amritsar, I was saying that once things get real, one has to also give a chance to enemy that they will sneak in through back door, through side door, and we have to be prepared for that. So there will be few missile attacks that we will have to deal with on ground with a certain amount of damage accepted. So that is as far as the missile attacks are concerned, and we have enough missiles to counter attack Pakistan. So there is nothing to worry about as far as our capability is concerned. But yes, we have the defensive systems, we have the offensive systems available with our forces, and all are active now. So there is no reason why we should be, too much scared about it. And second part, you wanted me to.
No. Just to say, where do we go from here? Where do you see it going from here?
I was telling you, while I agree to an extent with Brigadier Thapar on escalation ladder, but I think if we have to escalate now, as a country, our policy is not to attack civilians and kill civilians, civilian population, no matter what. So now you have attacked their military installations, you are attacking their airfields. Where do we go next? where do we go next? Next is the economic targets. That is where I would do the targeting, because he has to be taught lesson. He has to be taught lesson in and if we are short of calling it war, because we have not unleashed all the forces, and that stage might come maybe a stage or two later. But before that, if we have to really inflict some injury to him, what do we continue targeting these military targets and air bases? Yeah, that is one way of reducing the opposition. But the other way is
Basically, you're saying that the red line we had, that we don't target residential areas, now may change, because when you target economic targets, there could be collateral damage, and since Pakistan is coming in at our civilians, our rules of the game have to change. Am I understanding this correctly, ADM?
Yeah, the rules are not applicable only to us. The rules are applicable on both sides. And secondly, when you are saying when I say target economic targets, is not with. I mean, we have a precision capability to take them on without much of collateral damage. We know what the precise point in those targets are. We have studied those targets. We have the target to weapon matching available to us, and we will use a precise weapon to take out where it pinches them most. We are not interested in killing the civilians, but when we take on their industry, today the industry is also very smart, so we know where to hurt the industry. So I don't think we
Okay.
we are looking
No,
at
point
damaging.
taken. Got it,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
yeah, sorry.
No,
I
no, go
think
ahead.
there's a little bit of a lag. Yeah. Let's get last comments. I know all of you, it's lunchtime wherever you are. For us, we have to move now to the international border and the line of control, and also play out for you, all our viewers, the image you see on your screen. Could we just go back to that lady, please? I want to just, since some of you may not get a chance to see the story, this woman's house, this lady you see with a little child, she lives in the house that came under attack from a Pakistani drone. She has two small children. And she was sobbing. And then she showed me, I found it very moving. उसके घर में वो रूफ तो गिर गई, लेकिन हमारा झंडा लहरा रहा था. She is one of those proud Jammuites who has a झंडा on her छत. And she said, झंडा नहीं गिरा. She said, झंडा नहीं गिरा. And I wanted to cry, because I thought, what a brave woman. Amazing. But think about the fact that women and children are now being targeted in these attacks. And as Emma should said, the rules of the game have changed. Tushar and Kushal and Brigadier Thapar, let's take last comments. Tushar, I'll start with you.
Yeah, look, Brigadier Thapar made a good point about.
Sorry, that's the house. And I don't know if we can zoom in on this picture, but that's the flag there on the corner. Our Tiranga still on that house. Yeah, go ahead.
Look, I don't think it's India which will decide where the nuclear threshold is. Just this morning in the press briefing, it was told that the troops in Pakistan are being moved on the forward posts. So probably they're also looking at a battle on the land. When you have a country that is willing to place international aircrafts flying hundreds and hundreds of innocent civilians in the line of fire, I think we're already beyond talking about nuclear threshold being at 1 or 2. Tomorrow, they might mount a payload on an ICBM, fire it on Delhi, we might intercept it. But that mere intent to fire it denotes that this whole discussion on a nuclear threshold is very sort of, at this point mixed. Not to say that we need to graduate to that level, absolutely not. I hope Sena heads prevail there. But what is the deterrence we can create? I'm not saying we have to decimate Pakistan completely. That will be a long drawn-out war, a very long war. It won't happen in a day. It's a nation with a population of 24 crore deranged people who want the end of India. Nevertheless, it can't happen in a day. But I'm saying, even if we take 20 square kilometers of territory, and I'm being very, very conservative here, within Punjab, you have to tell Pakistan that if you want to be expansionist in Kashmir, we'll be expansionist where it hurts you the most. And we'll not sort of take over the population. We have no interest in your population. We have interest in the land and what that land brings you. So can an objective be established on those terms as to what the what the forces might want to do, what the government might want to do, because every night this whole drone business at some point will bleed Pakistan out. But what about the future? My worry is not about what happens tomorrow or day after. Our forces are well equipped to handle that. What happens 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now? That's the question.
Brigadier Thapar, you want to take a bash at that question before Kushal closes for us?
Yeah, and I also want to say something about what Kushal said. See, I think my nuclear thing has been taken a little this thing. My limited point was that what people say on social media, let's not Pakistan is not a knockover state. That's what I want to bring out. It's got a professional army, pretty strong, built on the same principles as ours, and they're pretty efficient. We have parity. So
I want to interject there. It was built on the same history as ours. The word I would use is history, not principles. British,
no,
a British legacy.
Okay.
But the
Point.
way their army has evolved and the way our army, कोई मतलब सर जमान मतलब जमीन आसमान का फर्क.
Point conceded, but I'm talking about their capability, professional capability. I'm restricting myself to that. So when we say POK, not the entire, but we'll say 10 kilometers of Punjab, that's full-scale war. 10 kilometers of war, 10 kilometers of Punjab is full-scale war. You may stake a post or two in POK and he may permit, in the sense he may say, I will not contest it beyond a particular point. But Punjab, till he actually gets that back, he is 70% Punjabi Mussalman army. They're not letting go of their land. We won't let go of our land in Punjab or Rajasthan, would we? Now, that. So nuclear be taken in that aspect. I'm not saying we are getting on nuclear conflict right now, and we don't forego our right to use it first if what be. Now coming to the Russia Ukraine example which Kaushal gave. See, Russia is the attacker. It's already got about 1/5 of almost areas up to Dnieper River under its control. It has no reason to use nuclear. If Ukraine had nuclear weapons, they would have used because their area has been taken. If it was other way, if Ukraine had taken over part of Russia, then maybe Russia could have used nuclear weapons, justified that, okay, our area has been taken. So see it in our context that if we take over Pakistan, certain areas, then if they use, is what I'm trying to say. So the example is probably doesn't fit in this context.
Sorry, Kushal, closing comment.
My closing comments are only this: when India takes over Pak-occupied Kashmir, they're taking over their property. They're not taking over Pakistani property. That is point number one. We're not interested in taking over anything else. We're not interested in Balochistan, in KPK, in Sindh, or anything of that sort. As they say in Punjabi, "O tathe kooche jaye sanu ki." Asi te saadi cheez leni hai aur aage बढ़ जाना. So that's point number one. So there is no justification for Pakistan to use that option. I would understand if we are saying nahi hum to Sindh bhi lenge, 1947 radd ho gaya, blah 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 blah. We are not doing any of that. But I can tell you something. An ex-Muslim friend of mine, an atheist friend of mine from Australia, he's of Pakistani origin. He just messaged me. Guess what's going on in Pakistani media right now? You're gonna laugh your ass off. Okay, here's the thing. Sonia Qureshi is the anchor, and they're saying Marco Rubio ने call कर लिया जी, इंडिया तो de-escalate करने की demand कर रहा है. This is Pakistan. This is Pakistan. He messages me frantically, and he's like, "ओए, तुम लोग इनको छड़ना नहीं है तूने?" मेरे को मालूम नहीं, मैं तो लाइव शो में तू क्या बोल रहा है मेरे को. बोलता है, देखिए सोनिया कुरैशी बोल रही है, आप ऐसे लोगों के साथ आप रैशनली डील करने की बात कर रहे हो. मेरे लास्ट वर्ड ये होंगे, इनको ठोको और 71 की गलती वापस मत करो.
You know, just before I let all three of you go and I play out my report from the residential colony, I want to show you an image of a gentleman called Raj Thapa. Could I please have his picture up? The reason I bring this up is Kushal every day comes on the program, and of course, while we express our deepest gratitude to our armed forces and to the intelligence and the security apparatus, there are often unsung heroes on the ground. This man is a government officer. He was doing meetings yesterday on how to help people in Rajouri, and he has been killed today in Pakistan shelling. So this is as we seek justice, war is not a video game, and there will be costs. And for a post-war generation, we have to sensitize our country to those costs. Thank you to Kushal, to Tushar, to Brigadier Thapar. And that's Mr. Thapa, and we salute his sacrifice in the line of duty. Soldiers without uniform in their own ways. Many people are paying costs here on the ground, and I just wanted to acknowledge that. I now want to turn to what was said by our Foreign Secretary and our military briefing today. Pakistan is targeting civilians. The places of worship report, you saw my report from the Aap Shambhu temple. I leave you now with what Jammu woke up to. If we could have that report up on our screen ready to play. Jammu woke up to the sound of explosions, and a residential colony found that in that colony, they woke up and they heard explosions, and then parts of their home were blown away. Take a look.
We are here on the ground in Jammu, and the house that you see, as well as the shattered pieces of glass that you see here on the road, are the aftermath of a Pakistani drone attack. It is important to say that India's air defense system has thwarted most of these attacks. But if we turn around, I will show you an image of the house that was damaged. We are told that 2 houses have been damaged. Here, you can also see our flag, our Tiranga on that very house that has been damaged. And we are also told here that 3 to 4 people have sustained minor injuries. Now remember, Pakistan targeted a residential colony in Firozpur late last night in Punjab, where 3 people suffered minor injuries. And now this is the second time that a residential neighborhood in the city of Jammu has been targeted. It's also important to say that India's air defense has thwarted most of the attempted attacks that have taken place at 26 locations late last night, 36 the night before. Now, if we come here, the family who lived in this home is also here, and we'll talk to her in just a moment. But in the meantime, let's talk to eyewitnesses. Sir, आप कुछ बता सकते हैं यहाँ क्या हुआ, क्या देखा आपने?
देखिए, मैं तकरीबन 5:30 पौने 6 बजे सैर करने के लिए निकलता हूँ। जैसे ही हम सैर करने के लिए निकले अपने घर से, मेरा घर को 10 कदम दूर है, तो मैंने देखा कि एक वहां से एक गोला टाइप बहुत बड़ा रॉकेट सा आया और पहले ही नीचे ही लोगों के घरों के शीशे तोड़ता आया और सीधा आकर यहाँ पे उसने डैमेज किया। और ये देखो, ये
पीछे दोबारा दिखाती हूँ।
ये लोग ऊपर नहीं सोए हुए थे, ये तकरीबन लोग सारे जो इनके घर वाले थे नीचे सोए हुए थे। मैंने वैसे ही मूव किया नीचे और ये देखा कि ये पूरा डैमेज हो चुका था।
आप कहाँ थे उस समय?
मैं सैर करने के लिए निकला।
अच्छा।
तो पूरा डैमेज हो चुका था। मैंने फिर पीछे अपने कदम पीछे खींच लिए और मैंने याद देखा कि धुआं ही धुआं हो गया। इतना धुआं था कि दिखाई नहीं दे रहा था और ये सारी गाड़ियां डैमेज हो चुकी थी। लोगों को इतनी घबराहट थी, लोगों ने रोना शुरू कर दिया, इतना शोर डाला लोगों ने कि लोगों को अपने आप को जो सामना बड़ा मुश्किल हो गया। और हम जहाँ पर आए लोगों को हमने बताया कि कोई बात नहीं, आप हिम्मत रखो, सब ठीक हो जाएगा। छतों की टैंकियां टूट गई, लोगों के शरे लग गए। ये घर देखिए जिसपे ये हुआ है, इनका बेटा पूरा अंदर सोए हुए थे और जैसे ही वहां से शरा आया, इनके बेटे की बाजू को लगी, वो अपनी मम्मी के साथ सोए हुए थे।
अच्छा, इंजरी हुई है?
बुरी इंजरी हुई है और इसको इमीडिएटली वहां पे हॉस्पिटल में ले जाया गया।
अच्छा।
और यहाँ का एक लड़का था नीरज, उसको भी लगी है। और इनके ऊपर सब घर वालों की टैंकी पानी की सारी टूट चुकी है। ऊपर सारे ये शीशे देखिए सारे डैमेज हुए हैं। ये सारे डैमेज हुए हैं शीशे।
हाँ, मुझे खिड़की पे दिख रहा है।
वो देखिए शरे लगे हुए हैं।
वो जो वहाँ पे दीवार में
ये सारे शरे लगे हुए हैं। ये सारा इनका डैमेज हुआ है।
तो आप देख सकते हैं कि ऊपर जो शीशा गिरा था वो साफ हुआ है। और अगर आप थोड़ा पास आए तो आप यहाँ दीवार पे क्रेटर भी देख सकते हैं जो दीवार में हुआ है, अगर आप वो देखें। और दूसरी तरफ अगर आप आए दूसरे घर में, तो वहां पर उस घर में, ये वाले घर के ऊपर खिड़कियां भी तोड़ी गई हैं। ये वो मैम है जिनका वो घर, जिनकी हमने आपको तस्वीर दिखाई, सबसे बड़ा एक डैमेज इस घर को हुआ है। और मैम से बात करते हैं। मैम, जब ये धमाका हुआ तो आप कहाँ थी मैम? सबसे पहले तो वेरी सॉरी, आई नो आप बहुत अपसेट होंगी, बट थैंक गॉड यू आर सेफ।
ये फ्रंट में हुआ और हम आगे वाले रूम में थे, इसके साथ में।
घर के अंदर थे?
हाँ जी, रूम में ही सो रहे थे।
क्या सुना, क्या देखा आपने?
कुछ नहीं मैम, बहुत स्केरी था, इट वाज वेरी स्केरी। धमाका बहुत जोर का था मैम, कि हमें बेड से उठने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी, इसने हमें उठा दिया खुद ही।
हाँ,
खुद ही हम लोग,
मतलब आपका घर शेक हो रहा था?
यस मैम, पूरा इतनी जोर से झटका लगा कि पूरा बेड हिला हमारा। बस उसके बाद कुछ समझ नहीं आया। जैसे बाहर आए, हमें भागने की कोशिश की कि निकलते हैं यहाँ से, कुछ तो हुआ है, कहीं बाहर हुआ है। इतना पता था कि हुआ कहीं बिल्कुल पास में है। अब यही इमेजिन नहीं कर सकते थे कि छत पे हुआ। अगर छत पे हुआ होता तो फिर हम कैसे जिंदा है? नीचे क्यों नहीं आया? लॉबी भी ठीक है, जैसे बाहर निकले तो लॉबी के बाहर वाला जो एरिया था वो पूरा कंक्रीट नीचे था और मेन डोर ओपन नहीं हुआ।
कौन कौन था घर में आप?
मेरे 2 बच्चे हैं मैम।
और ये छोटा, ये आपका बच्चा है? So look at the vulnerability here. Ma'am here has 2 small children, and can you only imagine how vulnerable and traumatized they must be feeling right now? मैं बस इतना कह सकती हूँ कि I'm very thankful कि आप safe हैं मैम।
वेरी थैंकफुल टू गॉड, माँ भावे वाली, हम सेफ है मैम। मैं बहुत, हम बच गए मैम, वरना पुंछ में जो हुआ आपको पता ही है सब, किस तरीके से उन्होंने टारगेट किया और कितने लोग इंजर्ड हुए और कितने लोग की जान गई है। हम बच गए मैम। हमारे घर पे ब्लास्ट हुआ है, घर पे, कहीं बाहर ना हो कि हमारे घर पे ये बात हुई है। सोच सकते हो
मैडम जी, हम बोलते हैं कि बीच में आके नहीं, उग्रवादियों ने किया सब कुछ। पहले उन्होंने शुरुआत की, हमने कुछ नहीं की। अभी भी हमारे बोलते हैं, गवर्नमेंट बोलती है कि हम उनका कुछ नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन वो घुस के मारेंगे तो हम भी तो कुछ करेंगे ना। बिल्कुल टोटली, क्यों हम हाथ नहीं उठाते। हिंदू जो हमारी कौम है ना, वो किसी को छेड़ती नहीं है, किसी को मारती नहीं है। पर ये लोग अंदर घुस के मारेंगे तो हमारी भी ताकत आ जाएगी, हम भी घुस के मारे। हमारे मकान के सारे शीशे हिल गए।
आपका भी?
हमका हिल गया, ये भी हमारे पास वालों का है।
क्या हुआ मैम, आपने क्या देखा?
हमने देखा है बम बरसाया, इतनी आवाज आई है, हम सारे डर गए मैडम, हम सारे डर गए, सारे शीशे देखो हिल गए। हम गरीब लोग हैं, हम गरीब लोग हैं, हम क्या करेंगे? हम कहाँ जाएंगे? हम दिहाड़ी लगा के रोटी खाते हैं, हम क्या करेंगे मैम? ये हमारी
हिम्मत रखिए मैम, हिम्मत रखिए। पूरी देश की ये जंग है।
हाँ।
हमारे आर्म्ड फोर्सेस लगे हुए हैं और ज्यादातर जो भी कोशिश की है पाकिस्तान ने, वो बिल्कुल रोकी गई है ना? हाँ जी सर, नमस्ते सर।
नमस्ते
सर।
बरखा, बहुत तबाही हुई मैडम यहाँ पे। पिछले 2 दिनों से लगातार पाकिस्तान जो है वो अपनी कायराना हरकत कर रहा था। पिछले 2 दिनों से ड्रोन्स, मिसाइल्स जो है वो जम्मू के ऊपर दाग रहा था, लेकिन हमारे डिफेंस सिस्टम ने
बहुत अच्छा
कार्य किया है। अगर ये तो आज आपको यहाँ पे शेल गिरे हैं रिहायशी इलाकों में, और हार्ट ऑफ द सिटी है, जम्मू शहर है ये। यहाँ पे हमने कभी सोचा भी नहीं था कि ऐसे यहाँ पे तबाही का मंजर बनेगा। और आप देखिए कि यहाँ पे सारी गाड़ियां तबाह हो गई हैं। बहुत से लोग,
एक ऐसी गाड़ियां मैं दिखा सकती हूँ यहाँ पे जो सर बात कर रहे हैं, ये बताइए सर, बताइए।
दूर तक देखिए गाड़ियां सारी तबाह हो गई हैं और बहुत से सीरियसली इंजर्ड, सीरियसली 10 आदमी कम से कम, ज्यादा भी हो सकते हैं बरखा जी। 10 आदमी यहाँ पे सीरियसली इंजर्ड गवर्नमेंट मेडिकल कॉलेज में हम भेज चुके हैं। लेकिन प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब से हमारी यही गुजारिश रहेगी कि अब की बार रुकना नहीं है जब तक कि पाकिस्तान को मुंह तोड़ जवाब नहीं दिया जाए। जम्मू कश्मीर का बच्चा भारत सरकार के साथ है। और एक और हम आपके माध्यम से एक सरकार को, केंद्र की सरकार को ये पैगाम देंगे, हमारा बहुत नुकसान हुआ है। पुंछ, राजौरी, वहां पे लोग शहीद हुए हैं, घरों के घर तबाह हो गए हैं। ये भी घर जो आप मेरे पीछे देख रहे हैं, इसका टोटल लॉस हो गया है, लेंटर टूट गए हैं।
मैं घर दोबारा दिखाना चाहती हूँ, और मुझे ये भी दिखा कि उस पे भारत का झंडा लहरा रहा है।
भारत का झंडा वहां पे घर घर में जम्मू कश्मीर में मिलेगा। जो लोग कहते थे बरखा कि तिरंगा झंडा लहराने वाला कोई नहीं होगा, जम्मू कश्मीर में आओ, तिरंगा झंडा घर घर निकाल रहेगा। ये मेरी बहन जिनका घर है, ये रो रही है। आप इधर आइए मेरे साथ, आप इधर आइए, और आप घबराए नहीं, भारत सरकार आपके साथ है। और ये सबसे बड़ी हिंदुस्तान की बरखा जी जो पत्रकार है, ये मौके के ऊपर जायजा ले रही है और पूरे हिंदुस्तान ही नहीं पूरी दुनिया भर में आपका पैगाम जाने वाला है।
मैं इनको हिम्मत देना चाहती हूँ कि हमारा जो एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम है, उन्होंने ज्यादातर जितनी कोशिश थी पाकिस्तान की
99%
उसको रोक
दिया। अगर वो डिफेंस सिस्टम ठीक नहीं होता तो हमारा यहाँ पे बहुत नुकसान होना था, खंडर में बदल जाना था जम्मू।
Thank you मोदी जी who made our defense very strong. Thank you मोदी जी, आपकी बदौलत हम सो रहे थे 3 दिन से, बिकॉज हम बहुत ज्यादा वो थे कि कुछ नहीं होगा, हम बहुत सेफ थे, लेकिन फिर भी आज भी हम सेफ हैं, उसी वजह से हम सेफ।
मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ,
पार्ट ऑफ डिफ्यूजन,
हाँ जी,
बस पार्ट ऑफ द डिफ्यूजन, वो कुछ डिफ्यूज ही होके हमारे घर पे लगा है शायद से,
ये भी हो सकता है। ये इन्होंने एक जरूरी बात बोली है कि क्या पता जो हुआ वो इंटरसेप्ट के दौरान वो, बिकॉज ये कहना जरूरी है कि इंडियाज एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम्स हैव बीन वेरी सक्सेसफुल। सर एक मिनट, मैं वो झंडा दिखाना चाहती हूँ जिस घर में बिल्कुल वो बाकी घर के कोने डैमेज हुए, लेकिन भारत का झंडा वैसे लहरा रहा है। मैम ये कुछ बताएंगे, आपके घर पे जो झंडा है वो अभी भी लहरा रहा है, शायद हमेशा लहराएगा?
बिल्कुल लहराएगा, झंडा तो हमेशा लहराएगा, तो हम जब से हमारा घर बना है तब से हम चेंज करते हैं, तब से लहरा रहा है।
आपने हमेशा से झंडा लहराया?
हमेशा से मैम, हम उसको हर 26 जनवरी पे या 15 अगस्त पे हम उसको चेंज करते हैं।
उन लोगों को भी ये करारा जवाब है जो लोग कहते थे भारत का झंडा उठाने वाला कोई नहीं रहेगा, लेकिन जम्मू कश्मीर में बच्चा इस तिरंगे के पीछे अपनी जान तक कुर्बान करने के लिए तैयार है, और ये पाकिस्तान को सबक सिखाना बेहद जरूरी है। अब तो अगला हमारा भारत का झंडा पीओके गिलगित बल्टिस्तान में लगा हुआ होना चाहते हैं, और हम ये भी बरखा मैम देखना चाहते हैं कि कब पीओके गिलगित बल्टिस्तान भारत का हिस्सा बनेगा और कब पाकिस्तान से आजाद करवा के प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब इसे भारत का हिस्सा बनाएंगे।
तो आप यहाँ देख सकते हैं कि किस तरह का एक आक्रोश है, एक एंगर है, एक रिजॉल्व भी है कि हम डरेंगे नहीं, हमारे आर्म्ड फोर्सेस को हम ट्रस्ट करते हैं, हम सरकार को ट्रस्ट करते हैं, और जो हुआ ऑफ कोर्स बहुत ट्रॉमेटिक है, इंजरीज भी हुई हैं, कुछ लोगों को उनको अस्पताल ले जाया गया है, लेकिन यहाँ पे एक डिटर्मिनेशन है कि भारत झुकेगा नहीं, भारत के लोग झुकेंगे नहीं। मैम मैं अंत में आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ, मुझे माफ करिएगा, मुझे मालूम है आप अभी बहुत ट्रॉमेटाइज होंगी, लेकिन मैं यही कहना चाहूंगी कम से कम शी इज सेफ एंड हर चिल्ड्रन आर सेफ, है ना? आपने जब ये हुआ, आपको याद है आपने क्या देखा, मतलब उसका क्या देखा, क्या सुना?
मैम एकदम से बेड पूरा हिल गया, हम सो रहे थे, जस्ट स्लीपिंग में ही थे कि चलो थोड़ी देर सो लेते हैं, आंखें ही बंद की थी अभी, बस मैम उसी टाइम पे धमाका हुआ, इतने जोर का, शीशों की कांच की आवाजें सुनाई दी हैं, बस कि पता नहीं कितने सारे कांच टूट गए हैं और बेड पूरा हिल गया।
फिर आप भागे?
हमें कुछ समझ नहीं आया, कान सुन्न हो गए थे बिल्कुल, और धुआं ही धुआं था, और हमें लगा कि हम भागते हैं यहाँ से। मुझे ये तो सोचा ही, प्रेडिक्ट ही नहीं करा था कि हमारी छत पे हुआ, अगर छत पे होता तो हम सेफ थोड़ी ना होते, तो कहाँ हुआ है, गली में या कहीं बाहर स्ट्रीट में हुआ है, तो भागते हैं, नीचे जाते हैं, हमारा बेसमेंट है नीचे, हम 3rd फ्लोर पे थे, हम बेसमेंट में जाने की कोशिश करते, तो जैसे ही हमने अपना मेन डोर खोलने की कोशिश की तो वो नहीं खुला, क्योंकि सारा कंक्रीट मटेरियल हमारे उसके आगे पूरा फैल गया हुआ, वो ब्लॉक हो गया। फिर हम दूसरे दरवाजे से निकले हैं, एक और रास्ता है बाहर निकलने का, वहां से निकल के हम लोग जैसे ही आए हैं तो फिर हम नीचे आ गए। उसके बाद बस
मैं यही कह सकती हूँ, आई कैन इमेजिन मैम, बट क्या बोलूं मैं यही कह सकती हूँ, आई एम सो ग्रेटफुल कि आप ठीक
हैं,
और आप, एंड मैम हैज 2 small children, she is here in the morning with her children, with her family, and आप यही हम कह सकते हैं कि at least the family is safe. So women and children are now at the front line of this battle. जी
ये देखिए, ये शेल्स जो पड़े हैं ये वो है, और लोगों के, और कितना वो लोहा है ये, और अब अभी शुक्र करो कि अब हमारे सीरियसली इंजर्ड तो हमने गवर्नमेंट मेडिकल कॉलेज में पहुंचा दिए।
किस तरह की,
और बहुत
किस तरह की?
सीरियसली इंजर्ड है।
अच्छा,
10 से ज्यादा लोग हैं
इंजर्ड
हैं, गवर्नमेंट मेडिकल कॉलेज में गए हुए। गवर्नमेंट मेडिकल कॉलेज तो पुंछ रजौरी के लोग भी वहां पे माइग्रेट होकर के आए हैं, मैं खुद वहां पे उनको देख करके आया हूँ, क्योंकि हम भी समाज का एक हिस्सा है, जिम्मेवारी बनती है, और इस समय घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है, एक दूसरा बहन को हौसला दिलाने की जरूरत है। घबराएंगे तो हम डर जाएंगे और अपना हौसला अगर कमा जाए तो हम हार जाएंगे। इसलिए घबराना नहीं है, डरना नहीं है, एक दूसरे को हौसला बनाना है और एक दूसरे की मदद करनी है।
आपके हाथ में जो है, मैं दोबारा आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी, ये पाकिस्तान के ड्रोन के हिस्से हैं जो इंटरसेप्ट हुए हैं बाय आवर एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम।
जी, ये यहाँ पे पड़ने के बाद ये शेल्स जो है, ये तमाम आसपास के जो जितने भी घरों के शीशे हैं, गाड़ियां जो आप मेरे पीछे भी देख रहे हैं, ये गाड़ियां
लाइन से आप,
क्योंकि ये बड़ा पॉश एरिया था, अच्छे इज्जतदार शरीफ लोग यहाँ पे रहते हैं और ये तबाही ज्यादा भी हो सकती थी, लेकिन शुक्र करो बाबे वाली माता के ऊपर बड़ा भरोसा करते हैं, माँ वैष्णो के ऊपर हम बड़ा भरोसा करते हैं, तो ये सारे का सारा मंदिर है।
ये मैं फिर कैमरा पर्सन से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी, दीज आर द रेजिडेंट्स हियर से द पार्ट्स ऑफ द पाकिस्तानी ड्रोन दैट वाज इंटरसेप्टेड बाय इंडियाज एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम। यहाँ पे दिखाऊंगी कि सिविल डिफेंस is also at work। हाँ जी,
यहाँ पे ये मकान है मेरे सामने, मकान
थोड़ा यहाँ चलते हैं,
मकान देखो, ऊपर सारे चीजें टूट गई हैं।
पीछे मैं दिखाती हूँ, ये इनका
लगी है, हॉस्पिटल लगी है।
आप बताइए सर, आपका कौन सा मकान है सर?
मकान मेरा है।
ये मकान आपका है, ये वाला मकान? हाँ जी सर, बताइए क्या हुआ?
भाई को 6 बजे,
आप कहाँ थे जब ये हुआ? क्या
मैं इधर ही खड़ा था बाहर ही, और कुछ चीज आई वहाँ पे, ठा की भाई इतनी जोर की आई ना कि हमारे घर से सब कुछ अंदर उलट हो गया, टैंकी टूट गया ऊपर, बाइक को मेरे को लगी है
चोट लगी
है।
वो कहाँ है?
वो हॉस्पिटल में, उसकी सिस्टर को लगी है।
पूरा घर वहाँ भी डैमेज हुआ है, सामने ये वाला घर पूरा डैमेज हुआ है।
चलते हैं आगे।
उसकी सिस्टर मेरी, उसकी बाइक को लगी है, उसकी लड़की को लगी है।
अच्छा,
हाँ मेरी बेटी को लगी है,
इमरजेंसी में।
आपकी बेटी इमरजेंसी में?
ना, उसकी बाइक की बेटी, हाँ वो इमरजेंसी में है। तो
आप जब ये हुआ आप कहाँ थे?
नहीं, यहाँ पे यहाँ पे खड़ा था।
आपने क्या देखा सर?
कुछ आया वहां से, ये नहीं पता क्या आया, लाल सा था, ऐसा आया कि खड़म की आवाज आई और धुआं ही धुआं हो गया, आधा घंटा धुआं रहा, तो अंदर सारे शीशे जो ऐसा को टूट गया। मेरी गाड़ी भी थी वहां पे, टूट के शीशे टूट गए।
हाँ जी मैम, क्या हुआ बताओ मैम?
मैम हमें तो पता नहीं, हम तो सोए हुए थे, तो जब उठे हैं तो सारी हमारी विंडोज टूट गई हैं, अंदर वाली भी, ऊपर दरवाजा टूट गया, छत की टैंकी टूट गई हुई है, पानी सारा बाहर बग रहा है वहां से, तो बाकी यहाँ पे घर वगैरह लोगों के टूट गए हैं।
आप ठीक है?
हम ठीक है, मेरी चाचू की बेटी है, उसको लगी है और चाचू को लगी है पीठ में।
अभी वो
हॉस्पिटल में लेके गए हुए हैं उन्हें। अब
हाँ जी, 7-8 इंजरी हुए और काफी मेजर इंजरी हुई है, और साथ में घरों को काफी नुकसान पहुंचा है, जिससे सारी कैजुअलिटी हुई है। इसीलिए
बारियां भी टूट गई हैं, शीशे छोड़ो बारियां भी टूट गई हैं।
मेरे ख्याल यहाँ अगर आप आए तो
हम आपको दिखाना चाहते हैं
यहाँ, हाँ जी आगे भी आते हैं। एक मिनट मैं यहाँ दिखाना चाहती हूँ, अगर आप यहाँ खड़े करें, हाँ जी आप देख सकते हैं द विंडोज, हम अंदर अभी जा नहीं सकते बिकॉज दैट वुड नॉट बी करेक्ट, पर आप देख सकते हैं कि खिड़कियां सारी यहाँ पे स्मैश्ड है। आगे चलते हैं, हमें और जो यहाँ नुकसान हुआ है एज एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम्स इंटरसेप्टेड पाकिस्तानी ड्रोन्स।
ऊपर टैंकी भी पूरी डैमेज हुई है।
एक मिनट
और इस घर के ये शुक्र है कि उस समय
एक मिनट सर, नीचे देखिए ना, ये हमें आगे कुछ दिखाना चाहते हैं, हम चलते हुए यहाँ जा रहे हैं। हाँ जी, अच्छा मैं दिखाना चाहती हूँ, मैं यहाँ दिखाना चाहती हूँ।
घर पे कोई नहीं था।
एक मिनट सर, दीज आर shattered pieces of glass। ये यहाँ देखिए, यहाँ तक ये जो इम्पैक्ट है पाकिस्तानी ड्रोन्स बीइंग इंटरसेप्टेड एज ए टारगेट रेजिडेंशियल एरियाज। ऊपर आप देख सकते हैं, ऊपर पूरी ही खिड़की टूटी हुई है। आप बताइए सर, आप कहाँ थे जब ये हुआ?
हम उसी समय यहीं पे ही थे सब चौक में।
क्या देखा आपने?
हमने देखा एक सीधा सा ऊपर से कोई चीज आती है और बिल्कुल ब्लास्ट हो जाती है, जिसके कारण ये सभी घरों में डैमेज हुआ, नुकसान हुआ है। कुछ लोग तो घर में थे, कुछ लोग ऑलरेडी सोए हुए थे, जो सोए हुए थे उनको भी काफी इंजरी हुई है। 7-8 बंदे इमरजेंसी में है इस समय, और हम उधर ही जा रहे हैं।
अच्छा आप बताइए कि आप उस समय आप सो रहे थे क्या?
नहीं, हम उस समय बाहर ही थे।
मैं दोबारा दिखाना चाहती हूँ, यहाँ पे जो डैमेज हुआ है, ये डैमेज हुआ है
अंदर भी।
एक मिनट, shattered pieces of glass, a window completely taken out। यहाँ बाहर चलते हैं वापस। सर अंदर में अभी जाना ठीक नहीं होगा हमारे लिए।
मकान मेरा मैडम, हम यहाँ पे नहीं थे,
हम
अच्छा,
अभी पहुंचे
अगर ये होते तो
अच्छा, आप
हैं। मेरी टंकी भी टूट गई, शीशे ऊपर वाले भी टूट गए सारे।
अच्छा, ऊपर वाले भी?
हाँ, नीचे वाले भी टूट गए, तो टंकी भी टूट गई मेरी।
मैं यही कह सकती हूँ कि थैंक गॉड आप ठीक है।
ठीक है
है
मैडम,
ना?
ओके।
हाँ, तो यहाँ पे भगवान की
चलिए।
कृपा है जी। यहाँ पे एक तरह से आप समझ सकते हैं कि किस तरह का ट्रॉमा है कि आप अपने घर में सो रहे हैं सुबह सुबह और एक धमाका होता है और फिर अफरा तफरी मच जाती है, धुआं दिखता है लोगों को, ऑरेंज फायर दिखता है, स्मोक क्लाउड्स दिखते हैं और आप इस रेजिडेंशियल कॉलोनी में देख सकते हैं द ट्रॉमा, द एंगर, द एंग्विश। आई टेक यू राइट बैक to the house which really took the brunt of the damage. Let's walk out. Let's walk out here as we show you also the cars. You can see the cars there in the distance, and on the ground we showed you the shattered glass. And this is the second time that Pakistani drones have targeted a residential area. Late last night they targeted a residential area in Firozpur, and 3 people suffered burn injuries. And here residents are telling us that people have been injured here. We have not been able to independently corroborate the number of people or the nature of the injuries, but you can see right till here, you can see the shattered pieces of glass. And I leave you now with an image of the home and the Indian flag that continues to be standing there, making a statement of its own of India's resolve, India's determination, as India's air defense systems thwart Pakistan's major attack. We're also awaiting details on what India's counter-attack looked like through the night, because we know there was a major counter-attack. In this moment of panic and anger, it's also important to underline that for the most part, I would say India's air defense systems have done a spectacular job of intercepting these drones that are now, Pakistan is now targeting not only military installations, but also residential areas. And you can see women now on the streets, women, families, children now being made a target by Pakistan. Here on the ground at Ground Zero Jammu with Anoop, Barkha Dutt for Mojo Story.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.